Good morning. It's the 19th day of May, 2026. Good morning. Welcome to the program. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. And of course, second day of total shutdown. The Matatu Owners, as Matatu Owners Association, are still on strike. They're saying they don't have a deal yet with the Ministry of Energy and Transport. And that means that they have not gotten into that position where a compromise or a consensus was reached. That deal, they had to sit down yesterday until some time late in the night, but that was the communication from them. So the total shutdown continues, not continues per se, but transport still remains affected across the country, and we're just waiting to see how it's going to pan out, whether they're going to have an agreement late in the day or even as tomorrow as they agreed. And that is going to be the best message we are waiting for. My name is Victor Lo. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya. This is where it all begins. Now, I'll be talking about that later on with my guest. I'll be having Francis Kaviu, who is the minority leader, Machakos County. He's also an economist by profession. Let's talk about that. And Peter Ndungu, who is a political analyst. The two gentlemen will be here at exactly 7 so that we can do this all together. Welcome to the program. I have to tell Marie that Arsenal won last night, 1-0 against Burnley. I said it here. Gini wase kawana. Marie.
Okombe.
Okombe. Gini wase.
Congratulations.
What did you say?
Although I say Okombe.
Okombe, yes. Yeah.
You know,
Good morning.
So you promised to do something which I'm not so sure whether I can, you know, I can, if there's evidence for it.
You want to say it on air, what I promised to do. If you
said you're going to sleep in your suit, and did you take a picture?
I did, yes. I just woke up like this and came to work. Today again, I'm going to sleep
There's
like
a word
this.
I'm looking for, but Nisawatu. Let me not
what exactly?
stress on it. You know, it's not fanatism, but there's another word. But it's all good. You're on your way to winning, I guess. But
yes.
Really not.
No.
You still have another game, isn't it?
We have another game, one game to go against Crystal Palace. But then there's this team called Manchester City. They are really trailing behind us. The problem is, whether they win or lose and we win against Crystal Palace next week, it's still good to go. So that was the only determining game that we wanted yesterday night.
Okay.
And that is a good game.
Nice. I love the way, the spirit of sportsmanship, let me put it that way.
Yep.
In the sense that you lose, but again, you're hopeful for the next time.
You move on.
Yeah, so I hope that you actually get to win, because you people have been, like, you know, talking about it so much, but all the best.
24 years, 22,
you know?
3 years.
Yeah, talking about the transport, you know, paralysis in the country, that continues. And like you've mentioned, Victor, there was a meeting last night, but the Matatu owners said no deal. You know, I think they were offered 10 shillings reduction.
Yeah, they proposed to slash 10 shillings, but they said that is not what they were agreed on.
Yeah.
So the discussions are still on, either today or tomorrow. But according to them, they said that the ministers, they're not going to be available today. So they're waiting until tomorrow. But you never know. Anything can happen today. They probably might even call an impromptu meeting. It will unlock that stalemate.
So I guess Kenyans, we continue to brace ourselves. It's not easy.
Yeah.
I think when things happen like this, that's when you realize, oh my goodness, there is in a transport system completely cuts off everything. And I feel for those people who have very, you know, pertinent issues to attend to. Remember the people who probably want to go to hospital, people who might have emergencies here and there, you know, so that has been, you know, a problem or a help for such, I mean, for those people. But we hope that a solution will be found, and, you know, things will go back to normal.
Yeah.
You know, even just getting Ubers is not easy. You know,
No, it's not.
talking to some of my colleagues, it's like you can't get, and if you get, actually, the prices have really hiked. You know, so all that we'll be following up for you later on in our bulletins. But right about now, let's begin with that particular news, where at least 4 people have been confirmed dead during the Matatu protest that took place on Monday. 2 people were allegedly shot by police during protest in Kiambu, leaving 1 dead and another receiving treatment at the Kiambu Level 5 hospital. In the meantime, one person in Nakuru was also shot dead during the protest, with a similar incident happening in Kakamega. A female police officer who also sustained injuries after falling from a speeding police vehicle in Kiambu. Nairobi Regional Police Commander Issa Mahmoud has termed the Matatu strike as illegal, even as he revealed that at least 225 suspects have been arrested in connection with the Monday Matatu protests. Let's get the details of that with Timothy Kipnos.
Nairobi streets and other parts of the city were a running battle between the anti-riot police and the members of the public on Monday. Irate members of the public burned tires and lit bonfires to express their frustration on the hiking of fuel prices. A heavy contingent of police was deployed to protect business premises from being looted by goons. However, the residents accused the security agencies of allegedly using excessive force while dispersing demonstrators. The strike saw 4 people lose their lives and scores injured. In Kiambu, 2 people were shot, leaving 1 dead and another receiving treatment at Kiambu Level 5 Hostel. In Nakuru and Kakamega, 2 people were also shot dead during the protest, bringing the death toll to 3. In Naivasha, property worth millions of shillings was burned or looted as what was a peaceful demonstration over the high fuel prices turned ugly. 2 people were shot and seriously injured as business in the lakeside town was paralyzed while transport was paralyzed across the town.
Any attempt to block road, disrupt business, engage in violence will not lower the prices of oil, but will instead harm the economy, endanger lives, and that will attract also the full force of the law. And that's why you are here.
According to the Nairobi Regional Police Commander Issa Mahmoud, 5 police vehicles and 1 private vehicle were vandalized during the melee.
We'll charge them with serious offences, economic sabotage, and so many things, and the malicious damage of police vehicles. So they will face serious. They must get the full consequences of the law.
Further confirmed that 225 people have been arrested in connection with the Matatu strike.
The police officers who were injured are 6, including me. You can see. This is a rock. So if you tell me this is unarmed and a peaceful protest, you know what it means. You know what it means, this. So I was not born like this. So this is a new, something added to my body.
With 500 million shillings lost in these particular demos that has paralyzed transport across the country, the association is now calling on the government to listen to their plea to end the stalemate.
Thank you, Timothy Kipnusu, reporting there. And still on the Matatu strike, where Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen is accusing politicians of hijacking the Matatu protests and sponsoring looting and destruction of property in several parts of the country. Murkomen says it cannot be a coincidence that some flagship projects by the government were targeted by vandals and looters, citing the torching of 2 trucks owned by the contractor along the Rironi Mau Summit site, questioning why such scenes were not witnessed in 2022 when Kenya faced a severe fuel crisis.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, while taking stock of the disruptions occasioned by Monday's protests, said the Monday protest had a well-drafted script and not about fuel prices.
Whereas we take cognizance of the fact that fuel prices have risen significantly as a result of ongoing global political crisis, looting, violence, blocking roads, and vandalizing public and private property can in no way bring down the oil prices. If anything, the disruption of transport and closure of business can only worsen the situation.
The CS questioning the targeting of business outlets of people perceived to be supporters of the government, mainly in Nyeri, Kitengela and Nyahururu towns.
Criminal elements in some parts have been mobilized and deployed by rogue politicians. The looting of Ketia supermarkets owned by a member of parliament who supports government, the burning down of UDA offices in Wote in Makueni County, and the torching of 2 trucks at the site of Rironi Mau Summit flagship project are not coincidence, but a calculated move to spread fear and intimidate government supporters and innocent public servants.
Murkomen said Kenya witnessed a severe fuel shortage in 2022, yet matatu operators never took to the streets.
The leaders of matatu industry at that point in time never protested against the government. So the question you should be asking yourself, why did they feel that it was okay to understand President Uhuru Kenyatta, but when it is President William Ruto, they should go to the streets? You should ask yourself, why did they not stop their vehicles just less than 4 years ago? And why is it that in the administration of President William Ruto, they have stopped their vehicles from coming to the streets? There must be something.
He's urging the public to remain calm as the government engages in dialogue to resolve the issues of concern.
We wish to reassure the country that the government will do everything in its powers to protect lives and property, and at no time would lawlessness be allowed to take root in any part of our country.
And the nationwide public service vehicles protest on Monday left commuters stranded, with many left with the option of either walking to work or getting an unofficial day off. Some of those who opted to use private vehicles were, however, not lucky after goons who had infiltrated the protest barricaded major roads across the country. Matatu Owners Association say the protest will persist until the fuel prices issue is sorted.
Service vehicle strike on Monday closed a shut town of major town in the country. Commuters who had woken up in the morning in the hope of making it to work were left stranded with no vehicles in sight. The only option left for many was to walk to work or throw in the towel and call it a day.
Kwa mimi vile niliamka, I was told kwa barabara hakuna magari, na magari ambayo yalikuja town yalikuja kitu 6 na kuanzia 6 magari hayakuwa. So mimi nikaamua at least nitembee kwa mguu, but ni mbali.
Nimetoka Kibera nikakuja stage ya Ngong Road. So kufika stage sijapata gari. Kabidi nimechukua boda, but wanakataa. But wamenilipisha so expensive kufika tao.
Lakini hiyo kitu tungeomba hata kwa serikali waweze kuelewana. Mambo ya mafuta, watu ya matatu, watu yote wenye wanafanya na heavy commercial, watu wenye wanafanya watu wa biashara ya jua kali. Sisi wote tuweze kuelewana, hii mambo hizi tuweze kusolve hii shida.
Kwa mimi vile niliamka, I was told kwa barabara hakuna magari, na magari ambayo yalikuja town yalikuja kitu 6 na kuanzia 6 magari hayakuwa. So mimi nikaamua at least nitembee kwa mguu, but ni mbali kutoka South B mpaka hapa, it's like a distance ya 2 kilometers. So niliamua nitembee. Cha kushangaza nimefika town, pia boss ananipigia simu ananiambia leo kazi hakuna.
Private vehicles were not spared either. Those who tried accessing town past 8 a.m. in Nairobi found it rough, with major roads barricades with bonfires. Matatu Owners Association has in the meantime vowed to continue with the strike until the government addresses their concerns and brings down fuel prices.
Ile tungependa ni ushuru iende chini, kwa sababu hiyo ushuru ndio inafanya mafuta inapanda bei na inaumiza ule Mkenya wa kawaida, na ile tunaomba kama chama serikali iweze kusikiza wananchi, kwa sababu sio wenye biashara wanaumia peke yake.
We have reached a point at which our services have become so expensive that even trying to increase the prices doesn't work anymore. You cannot increase the price of fare, you cannot increase the price of drilling boreholes. It is impossible. Hata mama mboga hawezi fikisha mboga kwa soko tena.
According to the association, the impact of the strike has led to a loss of 500 million shillings, which is a negative impact on the economy, besides social disruption as Kenyans cannot move.
Tunaweza tukasema ile hasara tumeenda, tunaweza tukasema kwa leo ni hasara ya kama 500 million. Hiyo ndio hasara tumeweza kuenda. Tuko tayari kuendelea kupata hiyo hasara, na tutaongea na mabenki wale wako na zile maloni tuko nazo. Tuko na maloya already tumeweka in place ya kusema kuwa tutaongea na benki yote waweza kutusikiza.
But nothing stops the government from lowering the taxes to cushion the Kenyans. As a matter of fact, the road maintenance levy was taken up from 18 shillings to 25. That can be removed.
And the Matatu strike also affected learning, where learning was paralyzed in many schools across the country. Following Monday's Matatu strike over the high cost of fuel, school administrators were forced to summon parents to pick up their children until the situation stabilizes.
Monday morning, and the country turned into a walking nation following the strike by transporters over high fuel prices. The strike not only affected workers, but also school-going children. At Limuru Town School, learning activities were disrupted, with the school management summoning parents to pick their children. The same script repeated at Kamandura School along the Nairobi-Nakuru Road.
Nimeambiwa nikujie mtoto kwa sababu ni wengi ambao hawakuweza kufika katika shule, lakini sasa mwalimu mkuu akasema tuingie ili tukuje tupeleke watoto nyumbani.
Sitaleta mtoto mpaka mgomo iishe. Ndio afadhali akae nyumbani juu unaona hata yeye anasibuka kukuja. Mimi kaa mahali naenda kaa leo sijaenda kazi.
Hata sisi wenye wanapelekanga watoto shule na matatu hatungeweza na hatutaweza juu kutoka kwenye tunatoka transport imeongezewa kila mahali.
At St. John High Vision Academy in Thika, no learners or teachers were in school, highlighting the extent to which the protests have affected the education sector. Thika Sub-County Private Schools Association Chairperson Mary Kirika accused the government of failing to address the rising cost of fuel, saying the crisis was hurting all sectors of the economy, including education.
I have liaised with majority of the directors who are so down today. I have talked to the parents. Actually, they started calling me very early because, of course, they know I do a lot of coordination in terms of private schools. And if the parents are so affected also, because all the children are now at home.
In Nairobi, the epicenter of the PSV's protest, many learning institutions were closed for fears of any eventuality.
So I came to school, arrived in school, but the exams were postponed. You see, right now I have to look for fare to go back home.
The National Assembly Energy Committee is proposing a review of the many levies imposed on fuel to help cushion Kenyans from the high cost of living. Speaking during a tour of Kisumu, the committee members said the 80 shillings per litre of fuel should be revised for a period of time to help stabilize the fuel prices that have skyrocketed above 210 shillings a litre, making life too costly for Kenyans. Meanwhile, normalcy was observed in Kisumu, with transport operators advocating for dialogue. Here is Wycliffe Okech with that report.
Has recorded the highest retail prices for petroleum products ever, a development that has left motorists, public transport stakeholders and Kenyans in general wondering. Apart from the landed cost, local levies imposed on the products have escalated the price at the pump beyond the reach of many Kenyans.
People are not traveling because they are so much oppressed to the extent that the fares that were added, they cannot afford it. That's why we are now appealing to the government to look into it, so that our people may not be oppressed anymore. We are oppressed to the extent that we cannot exist.
The levies include an 8% value-added tax charged at 24.36 shillings on every litre of petrol and 17.85 shillings per litre of diesel. Other levies include road maintenance levy, excise duty, import declaration fee, petroleum regulatory levy, railway development levy, and anti-adulteration levy. Put together, the levies constitute a combined average of 80 shillings of every litre of fuel retailing in Kenya. The National Assembly Energy Committee, however, says the government needs to increase subsidy on petroleum products to cushion Kenyans from further pump pain.
We are very clear. Kenyans must be cushioned on that price. Because if you allow fuel to go out of reach, everything will be expensive. So we are the taxpayers, the economy is ours, we are the people paying tax. The government must accept to subsidize fuel so that Kenyans can afford it. That one, there is no shortcut.
The committee further says revising levies imposed on petroleum products is beyond it and must be considered by the whole House once it resumes from the ongoing recess.
When we reopen back, we look into it and see that the levies that are there, those ones that we can look at and say that maybe they can be done away so that the fuel can be the price for fuel can be reasonable, then we look into it.
Meanwhile, Kisumu town experienced calmness on a day that public transport stakeholders across the country staged protests against the hike in fuel prices.
Today we are happy with our members of the public because we are now moving from a violent scenario to a peaceful and more dialogue scenario.
We decided not to go the violent way. As Kisumians, we are trying much we can so that we have a discussion where we don't even give space for those bad people to intrude in the industry.
The leadership of Matatu Owners Association in Kisumu championed a dialogue between transport stakeholders and the government to resolve the fuel price crisis.
We know it is a global issue, but as a country we can also sit down and reduce some levies that had already been put on the fuel so that at least we get some relief in terms of the fuel.
Those VATs, those many things, the 16%, it came to 13%, and it was somewhere slightly around 8%. We want those things, the road maintenance levies, those levies, many levies, we say that we need to, they need to be released.
Jubilee Party claims the government is to blame for Monday's nationwide Matatu strike and public disobedience. Jubilee presidential hopeful Dr. Fred Matiang'i says the protest is a result of what he terms as runaway corruption. Addressing Jubilee Party delegates in Kiambu, Dr. Matiang'i said the rise in fuel prices is hurting Kenyans.
The Jubilee Party National Delegates meeting slated for Monday in Kiambu failed to proceed, with the National Executive Committee resolving to push the session to next week as a result of the ongoing Matatu strike.
Kauli moja sisi kama chama cha Jubilee kwamba tunajiunga na tunasimama na Wakenya wengine katika mgomo ambao unaendelea leo.
Announcing the decision, Jubilee Party's presidential hopeful Dr. Fred Matiang'i noted that public anger over fuel price hike have made it impossible to proceed with normal business. The former Interior Cabinet Secretary who addressed the delegates said Jubilee supports the strike, claiming the unrest is a clear sign that the country is headed in the wrong direction.
Na ukiangazia haya maneno ukiyafuata karibu, we have gotten ourselves here because of corruption and incompetence in the management of our country. I want to be very honest with you, my brothers and sisters. Mimi kwa maoni yangu, niseme kama kiongozi, we are headed in the wrong direction, and not even just the wrong direction. I think the worst is about to come.
According to Matiang'i, corruption in the fuel sector is to blame for the crisis which is affecting ordinary Kenyans.
Our government, as Jubilee, will not get into a fictitious and criminal agreement like that G2G and cause the prices of fuel to get where they have gotten today.
Ukiona petroli, ukiona diesel, ukiona mpaka mafuta taa, inakuwa na gharama kuliko hata vitu zingine. Na mnajua hiyo pia inaingilia maisha ya kila mtu. Kweli mjue nchi imekwisha.
A look at sports now, where 2015 world champion Julius Yego won a 6th African Senior Athletics Championship gold medal as Kenya finished second overall with 5 gold, 5 silver and 7 bronze at the 24th edition of the games that closed in Accra, Ghana on Sunday night. Yego won gold with a throw of 79.87 meters to win Kenya's 4th gold in Accra. Diana Chepkemoi rounded the top podium step for Kenya after winning the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase in 9 minutes, 29.18 seconds. The other gold medalists were Diana Wanza in the women's 10,000 meters, Kevin Chesang in the men's 10,000 meters, and Calvin Lotti in the men's 800 meters. The silver medalists were decathletes Edwin Toh, race walkers Stephen Ndageri and Silva Gerono, Marcos Gay in the women's steeplechase and the men's 4x4 meters relay team. The bronze medals were won by Isaac Kimono in the long jump, Belinda Obura in the shot put, Asbel Kiprop Kemboi in the high jump, Silas Centura in the 10,000 meters, Laban Kipto in the men's 500 meters, the 4x4 mixed relay team and the women's 4x4 relay team. South Africa topped the championships with 18 medals comprising 9 golds, 3 silver and 6 bronze. The next African Senior Athletics Championships will be hosted by Botswana in 2028. The 5th edition of the grassroots soccer tournament, Chapadimba, was officially launched on Monday ahead of the national kickoff of the tourney. This year's tournament will witness an all-star team comprising 32 outstanding players scouted from the tournament to represent Kenya at the prestigious Gothia Cup in Sweden, the world's largest youth football tournament. The tournament will take place across 8 regions nationwide, structured in 5 stages: ward level, county level, inter-county level, regional level, and nationals finals.
This is the first season of Chapadimba with the new regime. I want to assure you that this particular team that is seated here will give Safaricom and will give your team the best collaboration you've ever experienced, but most importantly, extract the most benefit that both parties will enjoy moving forward into the future. The activities that we undertake in the coming months with this Chapadimba is a critical point for youth development in regards to football.
And that marks the end of the news this morning. Thank you for your time and your company. We'll definitely be following up the Matatu strike for you during our subsequent bulletins, so stay tuned. My name is Marie Yambo, and after this break, Victor Law will be taking you through the rest of Good Morning Kenya.
Wewe wahitaji watatu ili kukamilika. Mimi nahitaji wawili.
Wewe pia? Hivi Pili alikuwa yazungumzia ukweli?
Ule. Wani?
Na anafanya nini pale na Patel?
Hata ninashangaa.
Tusherekee kwa kuja kwa Sitara. My daughter. My daughter.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible
Yes.
to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Watasema niko na kichaa.
Wewe leo naona ukinibaia chai. Shika. Kijana mdogo anakushinda na akili. Hivi ndio nataka kusema. Monica,
Si nilikwambia sikutaki kwa mikutano yangu ya kisiasa.
Hashiki simu, hasemi lolote. Yaani kazi yako ni ngumu kweli.
Nikusaidia nini wewe?
Maisha yangu yamo hatarini.
Na nimewaandalia kitu kitamu.
Na nileta kwa picha mzuri kama tutakaribisha wageni pamoja.
Monica, mimi ndio nataka hiyo kiti, sio wewe.
Wewe useme wewe tulia.
Nasikia lilipelea kutoka mapema.
Josh, babako atasema nini akisikia hii?
Wewe ulivunja kwako, sitaangalia uvunje kwangu.
Kila mtu abaki kwa leni yake, sawa?
Okay. Tutaongea.
Ulinisaliti.
Abidi. Kwa hivyo nyinyi mnaona kwamba sisi tunacheza hapa? Si mchezo chief. Hii kesi mimi naweza nikaitupilia mbali.
Kila mwisho wa juma kwenye runinga yako ya KBC Channel 1
tunakuletea Mkulima.
Ni kipindi cha kila mtu,
iwe wewe ni mkulima mdogo, mkulima mkubwa, muuzaji au mnunuzi,
au yeyote anayenuia kuanzisha kilimo ama ufugaji. Tazama Mkulima kila Jumamosi saa 10:30,
ambapo kilimo na fursa zinapatikana.
Great. Thank you so much for staying with us. All right. So let's get into the discussion. Today being a Tuesday, the 19th day of May 2026, we want to talk about the issue on the ground, fueling the economy. Whatever is happening in the country, all know that it was a total shutdown yesterday. And then today, we're still also feeling the same heat, where there is no deal yet between the Matatu Owners Association, the government, that is EPRA, the Ministry of Energy, the Ministry of Energy and that of Transport. We are waiting to see how it's going to pan out later in the day or even tomorrow. So let's talk about that. Fueling the economy. Without fuel, we've seen what really happened yesterday. The Matatu owners said that they are losing to a tune of 6 billion shillings per day. And half of that goes to fuel. So let's talk about fueling the economy. Yes. People did not go to work yesterday, and the majority of people, business people, did not open their businesses. So we can all imagine what was the ripple effect to that in the economy. Peter Ndungu, who is a political analyst, is also vying for a political seat in 2027, is here. I'll be joined by Francis Kavi, who is the minority leader of Machakos County Assembly. He'll be here shortly. But we have to get it going. Peter, good morning.
Good morning.
You managed to make it?
Yes, I came. There was no traffic jam.
Yes.
I just drove all the way from home. That's in Kiambu County, all the way to Nairobi County.
Yes.
Yes.
It was a tough day yesterday.
Yeah, true. It was a very tough day yesterday. And people say that, in our constitution after 2010, there is right of picketing and demonstration, which is there, and that they exercised their right yesterday. People came out, but unfortunately, we saw violence. A lot of violence was witnessed in the whole country, whereby people were mugged, vehicles were burnt, businesses were broken into, stolen and burned as well, and even we witness people dying. It is very unfortunate that instead of having a peaceful demonstration, some other people maybe, I don't know, they are taking advantage of the situations, either funded or not funded. But yesterday, true, the demonstration was successful, and the good thing which I have seen through the media is that after the meeting which was held yesterday, they came out and we saw that they did not agree. But I have just seen that EPRA has reduced diesel with 10 shillings, raised kerosene with 8 shillings, because they say that if they don't raise kerosene, then there will be a lot of adoration. They are going to mix some, especially petrol with kerosene, because this one is low, this one is high, and at the end of the day, for them to maximize their profit. That was done. So as it stands now, the price of diesel is lower with 10 shillings and 6 cents. And the price of kerosene is up with 30 shillings as per the Matatu Owners Association request. So that is what the government of the day has done up to this minute. Yes.
Very good. That is our discussion. Let me take you through the front page of the local daily. Standard says total shutdown. Total shutdown, that is on the front page of the Standard newspaper. Of course, with Full explainer there that it was a total shutdown yesterday, and the country was effectively on lockdown yesterday as Kenyans poured into the streets to protest soaring fuel prices. As chaos unfolded at home, President William Ruto's social media pages were awash with images of him in Baku, Azerbaijan, meeting dignitaries appearing detached from the unfolding crisis and the suffering of every people who elected him, especially at such a moment of national strain. It was only in the evening that Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen held a press conference where he appeared like a deer caught in the headlights to blame opposition politicians for the unrest. The remarks, as has become routine, leaned heavily on scapegoating with the tribal undertones while also sidestepping the central reality. Wananchi were on the streets because life has become unbearable under skyrocketing fuel prices, with the ripple effect crippling the economy. The key word is the ripple effect crippling the economy. When they talk of 6 billion shillings, that's a very big loss per day yesterday alone.
Yeah, true. There is a lot of, when it comes to matatu industry, the investment there is big, is huge, because these circles has taken very, very huge loans. We have seen them out there. And the people they transport every day,
yes,
they are quite a big, big number, because most of our Kenyans, I think more than 90%, they always use matatu. And it's true that that loss was there. And I even saw them saying that they want to use the arrears to go to the bank to negotiate the loans because of the times which was wasted yesterday, so on and so forth. But the thing which is there is that the most important thing at the end of the day is that we need to agree. We need to agree. We need to go to those negotiating table with open mind, knowing that at the end of the day, we are catering for our clients. As Matatu Owners Association, they are catering for their clients, and as the government also, they is catering for its citizen, is their electorate. Though there is a lot of political interference, there is a lot of political interference which is very unnecessary, because if the Matatu who were left to continue their demonstration, we could not have witnessed any death, we could not have witnessed any burning of properties, could not have witnessed the political way it took yesterday. Because yesterday I even saw one of the county government vehicles, I don't know if you saw it, the driver decided to put a tag on it, the paper on it in front saying that it's one term, so that the car can be saved from being burned. The other vehicle which was burned at Githurai, they said that inside the vehicle there were UDA materials. This, I think now we are going too far, and I think that's witness, that's portrayed very well, that there was a lot of political interference. Even some politician out there, I had a certain opposition person from Kikuyu saying how this thing will go from the other places. So I think the best thing for us as Kenyans, it happened how it happened yesterday, and a lot of investigations need to be done. But most importantly, I will request the Matatu Owners Association also to be reasonable and to know that at the end of the day, they have a role to play. They should not go to that negotiation table with adamant mind that if it's not this, there is nothing. Irreducible minimum. They should not go to that table with irreducible minimum. They should go to that table with open mind. I also tell the government the same. But also I'm happy I have seen that the government has, through IPRA, which is very dependent, Victor. IPRA is very dependent. Last night, I think throughout the night, they have sat down, done what it was supposed to be done, listened to Matatu Owners Association and other Kenyans, and they have decided to lower the diesel price with 10 shillings. That is not small, to be very honest. I know those people are asking for 40 shillings, but 10 shillings as we are talking now has already been reduced. This morning I went to one of the pumps as I was coming at Kiabu County, and I found that true, the diesel was reduced by 10 shillings. Petrol remained the same, and also the price of kerosene, because of the adoration which they complained about, has been increased. So at least the government, even if I have not given you the whole cake, but it has given you at least 30% of the cake which they requested yesterday. So they should also sit down and reconsider and say that as we are negotiating, let us meet somewhere. Me, I have this, government have this, let's meet somewhere. Government has shown the effort of wanting to go towards the right direction. Yeah. Also, those matatu owners, they should go to that negotiating with independent mind, without being interfered with by the opposition, by the politician. Because sometimes us, we have our own self-interest. I'm a politician, and sometimes we have our own self-interest, so that we can certify we can drive the narrative which you want to be seen by the world, by the Kenyans and the other people. The Matatu Owners Association, what they should know is that they are touching on a very sensitive line. That transport nowadays is very, very sensitive. I will kindly request them to handle it with a lot of soberness and consider all the factors, because there are so many factors. And now that the government has reduced 10 shillings, how are they going now to meet with the government? Very good. The negotiation still continues. On the front page of the Daily Nation, total paralysis. That is on the front page of the Daily Nation. Total paralysis. Transporters strike over rising fuel prices grinds the country to a halt. That was yesterday. And the Daily Nation says that the return of goons, deaths, injuries, violence, and destruction of thugs as thugs take on police officers, and also days of losses, traders and farms, Kenyans keep off work while looters invade premises. That was witnessed yesterday. Schools were also disrupted as learners decided to stay at home to ensure their safety, and also the president also took some action where he convened a meeting of top state oil industry chiefs to seek a solution to the transport crisis. That was an online meeting, which was also communicated by the Deputy President, Professor Kithure Kindiki. Finally, on the front page of the Star, 400 modern markets spring up to show up small businesses, totally different from what's on the other dailies. 400 modern markets spring up to show up small businesses. Route administration working with counties to build facilities. That is on the Star. Kalonzo in secret Sifuna talks to land opposition ticket. Did you talk about this sometimes back with you here? Yes, we talked. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this is what is happening. Now, let's come back to what's happening on basically in the country. The whole thing, somebody would say, is a global supply chain strain. It's not something new to Kenyans. Yes. Well understood. But why are you bringing politics in this? Now, one thing which is there, and they saw evidence, is that you remember very well that just a few years ago, I think like 5 or 4 years ago, there was the president who was in charge then was His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta. And there was a Ukraine war between Ukraine and Russia. And that war really affected the same industry of oil, among others. And when this came, the news were there, the prices then were raised. I remember very well that they were raised. And I remember the perceived leader of the opposition then was the current President William Ruto. And what they did, they went to the floor of the House, they did what they did, and they tried their level best to try and deal with this issue of fuel constitutionally. We remember very well. We remember even the current cabinet minister of internal security, Kipchumba Murkomen, going to Senate and making some remarks, among other leaders. And whatever happened, happened. Now, today, and I remember that day, Victor, Matatu and the other people did not go to street, demanding all this, because they understood, all of us, we understood. And I made a comment, I made this comment in my social media yesterday. I said, during His Excellency William Uhuru Kenyatta's time, Ukrainian war was there, and we all understood, and we kept quiet. We don't go to the street. This time round, I think the war which is there between Iran, Israel, and US is even more bigger than Ukraine. Because this is like a world war somehow. Because when Iran noticed that you, as one of the countries in their region there, you are not supporting them, they are bombing you. So there is a serious issue with supply of oil. It's there. It's evidence. And most of those oil, what do you like call them? Wells. has been bombed by either Iraq or Israel or America. So there is a serious crisis as far as the supply of oil is concerned. And usually, you know, as far as the business language is concerned, when there is a low supply and there is high demand, what happens? The price is hiked. And that's why you see, also the other aspect is that the route where they are using to bring oil to countries like Kenya has been changed. For the longest, the third issue, insurance aspect, because of the way this thing has been so threatened, the risk has been so high, the insurance aspect has either tripled if it has not become 5 times. And all these costs must be bared, must be carried, must be paid by somebody. Who is this person? The consumer. And consumer is me and you. So we must understand that there is a very serious issue worldwide, globally, that there is an issue of war which has changed the route, increased the insurance, the demand is high, there is no supply. And one thing which is there is that first and foremost, Mugara muwe na haki yake mpe. The current government, yes, has done what it has done, but it has made sure that 2 things: we are not getting adulterated fuel. The other thing, the fuel is available. At least if you want to move from one point to the other, yes, the fuel might be expensive, but the fuel is available. At least those 2 things, they have made them. But now the most unfortunate thing is that we are not understanding this current regime. I don't know why. We are not, we are pretending as if there is no war in Iraq. I don't know why. Because now the reason I'm saying this is this, that if the government can come and say that this is the issue which is there, and we have agreed to reduce the diesel prices from this to this, also we have accepted to increase the kerosene price from this to this as per your request. Honestly, Victor,
I'm just asking, why politics? I'm still into that, because you've talked about the last regime and now this other one. Is a comparison?
No, it's good to explain very well, because the circumstances are almost the same. The circumstances of war are the same. It's only that the other war was not as big as this, because this is like a world war somehow. The other, Ukraine, Russia, yes, it affected a lot of things as far as this country is concerned, and we understood the current government. And the current opposition did not opt the way of going to the street. They opted on the way of dealing with this thing constitutionally. Currently, what is happening is the current opposition had decided to go the street way, because they are doing a lot of incitement. No. Let me just air my views. These are my personal views.
Have you seen an opposition leader on the street and telling people go on the street because of the cost of fuel?
But they don't need to, my brother. We are politicians.
No, that's
we know how to incite.
An assumption. That's an assumption.
The issue of people going out to the street has been there.
It's the same thing.
But also remember, we cannot rule out the political interference.
When Kenyans are really on the street, all the way from Mombasa to Kisumu to Kakamega, Kirinyaga, Nairobi, blaming somebody on something that is global, opposition locally, is not proper.
But what you are saying is, then, if this thing is global, and we all understand,
then why are we bringing opposition politics in this?
Why are we going to the streets?
No.
Yes, the first thing, why are you going to the streets?
Picketing is, you know that, is in the Constitution.
Yes.
And Matatu Owners Association and other sector players gave a notice and they are on the streets. They are not opposition.
It's okay, but what I'm saying there is, why then ban people's property? Why do the money?
Now that is a big question.
Why bring goonism in this? Who brought the goons? That's the question I'm asking.
Right.
Who brought goons in this?
We don't know.
Because the goons were all over.
We don't know.
Who is the owner of the goons?
No, we don't know. Who are the owner of the goons? Fine.
Politician. Do you want to rule out that?
Okay.
Do you want to rule out that?
Well, tell me.
We have seen these things in political rallies most of the times. But now, anyway, said and done, most important thing is that people came out yesterday, and every Kenyan, including myself, including everybody, we are in solidarity with them. We say that if it's true that this thing is the way it is, then let us, all of us, we kept quiet and we stayed at home. And we allowed them to go to the negotiation table, and they gave their demands. It's only for them now to come out and say that they did not agree. And now after that, I think most of the sectors today, including our offices where I work in, we have requested all the people to resume their duties today. Because at the end of the day, we cannot be striking every day. I know at the end of the day, also Matatu industry will suffer a very big loss. Yesterday and today, that's a very big, even if they go to courts and say that their loan should be stopped, but at the end of the day, they must pay for what was supposed to be paid yesterday.
The ripple effect is there, because you can imagine traders transporting farm produce from, from farm gate to market, Marikiti and all that.
Yes.
There's a whole chain.
The whole gap. There was a whole gap which was created yesterday and which must be compensated.
Very good.
It must be compensated. And so that's why I'm saying that we need to agree. The government is doing an effort. You Matatu owners and the other Kenya, what are you doing as far as this one is concerned? Government has said 10 shillings and they increased the other one as per your request. Tell us, what are you doing you on your part?
Look at this way. The core drivers, number one, is the global factors, which we can really understand.
Yes.
The insurance, the Strait of Hormuz,
Yes.
the war between two.
Change of route.
But then the question of is taxation and levies. Someone would argue that why not thin them slightly out of the 9 taxes and levies? Why not thin them momentarily until everything stabilizes, then they go back to the normal situation?
One thing I know is that the current regime which we have is a reasoning regime, because you remember just the other day during the last month on 15th, after the hike, what the government did, reduced its 8%. You know, the fuel was being taxed 16%, and they reduced 8%. So as we are talking today, the reduction of 8% has happened. How I wish the readers we have in this country, the peoples who are in the parliament, why are they not using the constitutional means to go to the parliament and adjust that? Because this is something which cannot be adjusted by IPRA, cannot be adjusted by Minister of Roads, cannot be adjusted by Minister of Energy, cannot be adjusted by anything else apart from parliament itself. How I wish the parliamentarians are going to, if they are caring as they are stating, if they are caring as they are saying, they should go to the parliament, use constitutional means and fight for those taxes to be reduced. Because the only body we have in this country which can reduce those taxes is only the parliament.
Ndini Nyoro, Mheshimiwa, Kiharu MP also wrote to the Speaker of the National Assembly, requesting for a special sitting for them to talk about that.
Yes.
And also, if possible, to include it as supply exempt.
Yes.
So that, the levies and the VAT that is also put on the petroleum products can be discussed. But then, members of parliament, we're still waiting to see
how I wish such steps are being taken.
Yeah.
How I wish such steps are being taken. And these parliamentarians are going to parliament. When they will be called upon, they go to parliament and debate on those issues, issue-based. They go and table their issues and be reasonable on though they pass, because at the end of the day also the government need taxes and also see how they can be able to reduce it. Because one thing I know with the executive did what it did last time, and you even saw them even requesting a parliament to go to convene a session and reduce that, which they did. How I wish this time around even parliamentarians themselves, the likes of who you have said and the others, can come up, go to the National Assembly, follow the laid down procedure as it has been laid, discuss these taxes and reduce them, because they are the only body who are entrusted, who can be able to reduce these. Even President William Ruto, even if he comes up today and say that we would like to reduce these taxes from this to this, if Parliament doesn't approve, then that tax will not be reduced. That's the Constitution. So that's what I'm saying. Parliament should use the constitutional means to reduce or to finish this problem. There is the only body which can be able to reduce and to finish this problem. To be very honest, IPRA tried yesterday with 10 shillings and even raising the kerosene, but they cannot go such far. They can only go up to certain, because everybody in this country has its own limit. You cannot go beyond this. Now, those people who can go beyond the limits, people who can go and do draconian things, change things in a very dramatic way as far as anything is concerned, it's only parliament.
This did not happen yesterday. It was not an emergency. That even the Strait of Hormuz, the chaos happening there, and now the increase in fuel prices, it was not an emergency. Whatever is happening across our borders is not an emergency. So which means somebody can say that the government had probably enough time to put enough shock absorbers to this.
But also you should remember that all these bodies in this country are so independent. We have executive which is independent. We have legislature which include parliament and senate and counter assembly, which is also very independent.
But they work in liaison.
Okay, sawa, they do.
Yeah.
But if they wanted to convene a special sitting yesterday, they could not have consulted anybody. If the Speaker of National Assembly or Speaker of Senate yesterday saw it important for them to have a special sitting, they could not have, they could have just have consulted the parliamentarian, honestly speaking. Then they go there, they have their healthy debate. You remember during Uhuru's time, during the Ukraine war, there was those special sittings which were sitting up to very late. You remember?
Yeah.
The voting were being held almost the whole night for the same issues of fuel because they decided to do it constitutionally. It was, whatever outcome was there, it was still okay. But right now, I'm expecting and hoping that our current parliament, through its own leadership, will come out, use the constitutional way of solving this issue, because to me, they are the only body which is mandated and who can be able to solve these problems.
Peter,
yes.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, let's still continue with this discussion. Just received a text message from Francis Kaviu, who's supposed to be here actually. His seat is here.
Yes.
Said that amekwama. He's back. So that's the ripple effect what we're talking about.
Tell him to make sure that he is safe. That's the most important thing, because we need him tomorrow.
All right.
Things are many, and we know during this time the way things are happening, the most important thing is for you to be safe. Because if you are safe, tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, you can still come. But don't risk.
That's the point. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first. You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Wewe leo unaona ukinibaia chai.
Shika. Kijana mdogo anakushinda na akili. Hivi ndio nataka kusema. Monica, si nilikwambia sikutaki kwa mikutano yangu ya kisiasa?
Hashiki simu, hasemi lolote. Yaani kazi yako ni ngumu kweli.
Nikusaidia nini wewe?
Maisha yangu yamo hatarini.
Na nimewaandalia kitu kitamu.
Na nileta kwa picha mzuri kama tutakaribisha wageni pamoja.
Monica, mimi ndio nataka hiyo kiti, sio wewe.
Wewe useme wewe tulia.
Nasikia walilipelea kutoka mapema.
Josh, babako atasema nini akisikia hii?
Wewe ulivunja kwako, sitaangalia uvunje kwangu.
Kila mtu abaki kwa leni yake, sawa?
Okay. Tutaongea.
Ulinisaliti.
Abidi. Kwa hivyo nyinyi mnaona kwamba sisi tunacheza hapa?
Si mchezo chief.
Hii kesi mimi naweza nikaitupilia mbali.
Kila mwisho wa juma kwenye runinga yako ya KBC Channel 1.
Tunakuletea Mkulima.
Ni kipindi cha kila mtu.
Iwe wewe ni mkulima mdogo, mkulima mkubwa, muuzaji au mnunuzi,
au yeyote anayenuia kuanzisha kilimo ama ufugaji. Tazama Mkulima kila Jumamosi saa 10:30.
ambapo kilimo na fursa zinapatikana.
All right, welcome back. Still talking about what is happening on the ground with Peter Ndungu here, who is a political analyst, talking about the issue that is on the ground. So let's come back. When you see whatever is happening across the country, there's one person who is waiting for her voice to be heard Wanjiku. And Wanjiku depends on the sector players. Wanjiku depends on the government. And Wanjiku depends on the politicians to give the way forward. Right now, Wanjiku seem to be left all alone, or the government, the sector players and the politicians make a decision for them or for her. At what point will Wanjiku be brought on board and be told, now this is what's happening? Or will the voice of Wanjiku be heard? And at what point?
Dearie, I think what is pre-assumed and what is in reality is that we assume that like yesterday's demonstration and picketing and all that, as far as is allowed by the Constitution, also Wanjiku participated because it was called by the Matatu Owners Association, and we saw that people came out from most of the regions in this country, and they poured their heart. They said what they would like to, how the changes they would like to see in all this. But the one thing I missed yesterday is that our other elected leaders, most of them, apart from His Excellency the President, who convenes an online meeting with the sellers and the other stakeholders, and also the Deputy President, who also held a consensus meeting at his office, Internal Security Minister, and the other ministers who, cabinet secretaries who held a discussion with the other people. The other leaders did not address the real issues. Me, I would like to see a situation whereby if after the demonstration, our elected leaders to come out and address the real issues by following the constitutional means and really solving these problems. Because I said this issue is in the parliament. The parliamentarian can be able to solve this issue. How I wish Didi Nyoro can make his move, can walk his talk, and do as he did, as he told us yesterday. How I wish most of these leaders will not just be having a press conference, say they want to do this and that, but at the end of the day, they are not implementing what they are saying. I wish this is not the time for us leaders to fight. Yeah. This is the time for us leaders to address the real issues and give Wanjiku the solution. How? By doing it constitutionally. The way we were able to reduce 8% from the 16% to 8% through the intervention of our Excellency the President William Ruto just a few days ago. Now it's upon the parliament and the other leaders who are elected to come up and address the real issue, go to the parliament, take the right motions there, address the issue of reducing the tax. If it can be possible, reduce considering all the factors which are in front of them and do a very reasonable adjustment.
Peter, have you ever heard the word subsidies?
Yes.
What does this remind you of?
Subsidy is a situation whereby, for example, right now, if there is this issue of 46 shillings, then the government comes in with money and refinance that 46 shillings. That is what is called subsidy. A situation whereby the government knows that the prices are so high, and instead of consumer getting this high price, then let us come in and pay for the consumer this amount of money. And in a very layman language, in a very simple language, which can be understood by everybody, is the one which I have used. So there is also the way of subsidy. But remember, when this government came into power, it is said that one of the things is going to make sure that it's not going to go back to that route of subsidy. Also, that's also another way. In times of crisis, the same parliament can always go and sit down and rethink, because a wise man or a woman keep on changing his or her mind. And I know the president we have is a reasoning president. Even the parliament can go and rethink about the subsidy. They can go and sit down and rethink about the many taxes, because as I have heard it today here, I think every liter of fuel is having like 70 shillings or 60 shillings around there. If I'm not wrong, I start to be corrected. They can always go down and think about it and renegotiate, rediscuss, and always agree how they can be able to deal with this. And that's why I'm saying this is not the time for us as leaders to fight. This is the time for us to deal with the real issues.
So when you talk about subsidies, and that happened around 3 or so 4 years ago.
Yes.
And Kenyans were questioned against the high cost of fuel when the Ukraine war and all that.
Yes.
Is it not possible to be done right now?
It can be done. It can be done. In fact, what I'm saying from where I see it is that I'm so confident with the current regime we have, because they are ready for anything. If that is the way they should take to make sure that Wanjiku will be satisfied, I'm cocksure it will be taken. Unfortunately, today I'm not elected. My voice can go as far as here. I cannot be able to hear it anywhere else.
Your voice is also voice of reason.
And the point of reason, but true. How I wish, because being a caring government, being a reasoning government, I'm so sure, I'm so certain that they are working something. Because from yesterday 10 o'clock to this morning 5 o'clock, the reduction of 10 shillings had already been implemented. And not only be announced, but also implemented in all the fueling station. I was so surprised for both diesel and kerosene. So that was a good speed. How I wish they will do even more. If it's subsidy way, I'm not advising, but I'm telling, if that will be force them to go subsidy way, please go subsidy way. If it's going to make sure that you give us a lasting solution whereby you're going to reduce some of these taxes, please follow that route. But let me just tell them and tell them again, as a Kenyan now, UDA member, let me tell them, this is not the time for them to fight. This is the time for them to address the real issues, because today they are the one who are elected. Tomorrow when Peter Dongo will be elected, I will be talking from the other side, and I'll be making sure that whatever is supposed to be done by me as an elected member of this country, I'll be able to do it. But for now, because they are the one who are elected, please deal with the real issues which are in front of us.
All right. I'm not speaking for anyone, but I see at this point the resuscitation of our local production and oil refinery, which was in Mombasa, I remember that, is now just going about to take shape. It's just a matter of time.
Yes.
It's just a matter of time. That refinery, where we have our crude oil refined here in Mombasa, it used to be there, it used to work, is just about to kickstart.
Yes.
What do you think of that?
That will be a very good plus for this country. And you just saw what happened just a few days ago. You remember during the Tanzania, when the president went there to address the parliament about the same, because they didn't want it to be on that side.
Yes.
And unfortunately, you know, when I come to you and you tell me no, I have to respect that. We went there, our president went there, though the due respect, the president of Tanzania, Suluhu Hassan, said no. And we said it's okay. We really thought that that could have been so central for all of us as South Africa, because that place is so central. But we said now, in absence of that, they cannot be brought back to Kenya. That will mean that most of these costs of fuel from wherever fuel comes from those wells in those Arab countries, we will be able to have our own local solution. And that will mean that the prices of fuel, all the way from gas to liquid fuel, will have a very big reduction. And this will be a long-lasting solution. One thing I am happy about the current regime is that they are not going for a short-term solutions. They are going for a long-term solution. And sometimes taking a long-term solution, people must wait. And it takes time. And once you make it, then that's all. For example, like the way they reduce 6%, you know, for it to be increased, to increase another 8%, you need a public participation. If today the current readers, elected readers, can go to the parliament and reduce whatever tax they are going to reduce, because I would really like it to go that way, then that will be a long-lasting solution. The same way as far as the refineries are concerned. Once we get our refinery in our Mombasa, because I now is evidence that it's going to be in Mombasa, we'll expect that, one, we'll have good fuel. Because right now, the fuel is brought as a petrol from all the way from those wells.
Yes.
Diesel comes as a diesel, kerosene comes as a kerosene, gas comes as a gas. But now we'll be having our own refinery here. We'll be able to separate these things from our crude oil.
Yes.
So that will be a very big plus. And most importantly, employment for our youth, employment for our professionals, and also economy, as far as this region is concerned, will be up by a very big percent. Because when you talk about refinery, we are talking about a mega project. We heard the other day that the people who are coming to invest in those refineries are the Dangote of this world, the richest guys in Africa or in the world.
Yeah.
So these are people who are coming with a mega investment. That investment will be beneficial to this country in one way or another. This is going to trickle down to Mama Mandazi, Mama Chai, ile ya kubeba, whoever will be selling out there, all the way. So this will be a very big plus to this country. So I'm really waiting for it. I hope and believe that it's going to come the soonest. And is going to be a very big plus. And I think that's why the government has been so relaxed, because it is saying that the cost of fuel might be a bit low and our taxes should not be taxed. Because you know, at the end of the day, the government needs survive on taxes. Are you aware of that, Mr. Victor? The government survive on taxes to cater for almost of its bills, to cater even for those roads. You know, most of these tarmac roads which have been constructed in this country, there is a levy which comes from every liter of the fuel. And that's why you see the difference between Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania is that Kenya has a lot of tarmac roads. Why? There is a tax in every liter of fuel. In other countries, you don't have those taxes. Otherwise, you find that the tarmac roads are very few. But in this country, because you have that tax, which has been taking care of our roads, maintenance also, and construction also, that's why you see the government can be and is able to make sure that the tarmacs are there. Also remember, there is infrastructure fund which has been brought. So that's why I'm telling you, in the next few years, even this fuel levy and fuel whatever taxes will be reduced. Because once this fund is well established, remember, we will not be constructing and maintaining our roads from fuel.
Yes.
We'll be maintaining and constructing our roads from infrastructure fund. And so this tax will automatically kill itself. So that's why I'm saying we are going towards the right direction. There is a spark of the right and the end of the tunnel, and a big spark of the right. If we can just be patient as Kenyans, and also the government also should also do something so that you can be able to see it. And also readers to deal with the real issues instead of fighting and politicking. I think if we do that and we become sober, all of us, we are going to take this country to the next level. Because, Victor, at the end of the day, we belong to this country, all of us. All of us, even those leaders who are wherever, all of us will belong to this country. And when this country burns, all of us will suffer.
And just for the records, it's 80 shillings for every liter of super petrol, and it's a flat rate, actually, flat tax of around over 80 shillings for every liter of petrol and all that. But then now, if you have all these taxes, we have got road maintenance levy, value-added tax, excise duty, petroleum development levy, and so forth and so forth. Is it not possible to thin it? That's the question I still ask, to thin it, or do away with some of the levies, or reduce some of the levies, collapse them from all the taxes, wherever they are, from probably 9 of them to probably 6 or even 5 momentarily, until the situation stabilizes. Then now we resort back to where we are. That is the same as talking about the subsidy. Because when there is that, then there's that shock absorber to the final consumer.
Yeah, what I can tell you is that these people has been shown by example that these taxes can be reduced. When the president reduced the 8%, from 16% to 8%, then this is so clear to our current parliament that reduction is doable. They have been shown, President has read as with an example that I was able to reduce these. Then it's upon you as a parliament to go and have a sitting there, use the constitutional means and reduce the other taxes which will not affect the government and will not affect the wananchi, will not affect the development, because they are there. When people sit down in a very sober way, people can always agree. I believe that. When I go to a discussion table with an open-minded, and you come there, Victor, with an open-minded, we can always discuss, agree, and always have a solution for this country. How I wish the current parliament can go back and be called on a special sitting in a very sober mind, discuss and agree very soberly, making sure that Kenyans' requests are at their hearts. And I know at the end of the day, they can reduce that 80 shillings to something. They can have a reduction. Other than the 10 shillings which will be reduced by IPRA, they can add something over and above. So these things, as far as anything is concerned, people are saying that what President has done, he did his part. Now it's upon the parliament, which include members of parliament from across the country, to do as they are mandated by the constitution, and use the constitutional means to reason and to address the real issues Wanjiku is having today.
What's the worst that can happen if the G2G supply arrangement between, that the government is currently under is reviewed? What's the worst that can happen?
No, when currently what we know is that G2G has come with its own pros and cons We must understand that. It has its own advantages and disadvantages. And when we try to gauge all of them, we see that at the end of the day, G2G has more advantages than disadvantages. Because one, we no longer get adulterated fuel. The second thing is that we have a reliable and sufficient supply of fuel, regardless of what is happening globally. Thirdly, we are able, the government and everybody is in control of what is getting in this country and what is being consumed by us, among the other things, because also liberalization, which was brought some years back, is no longer there, because now when you have only one supplier, the supply, you have to follow the prices and the other thing which are being done, or whatever the supplier is telling you that this is the price you have to pay. Most of the times you find that you are vulnerable and you must do it, because also remember, we are also being given, is it 6 months credit period? And also, at the end of the day, we can be able to pay this fuel using Kenyan money. Remember, we had this dollar problem and the other problem. This thing has come in handy and it has really helped us. Oh, yes, they can review it if reviewing it will be to solve the crisis and the issues which you have with this problem. But at the end of the day, I don't see that being a problem. The problem is what you have talked about, the 80 shillings, the taxes. Let's be very sober. Let's sit down. Let's see what we can be able to reduce from that 80 shillings. If we can come all the way to 60 shillings or even 70 shillings, that can be a plus to us. And the other issue you talked about, subsidy also. Is it a good way? Will it be a long-lasting solution? What effects will it have in our economy? Will it be good or bad? So these two ways, either subsidy or reduction of tax. And if I to be asked as a Kenyan, I'll say, why can't we go the tax way? Because once we reduce this tax, they'll be for a long run. They'll be there for a longer time. Subsidy, remember, can be there. The next regime can come and remove, or even the other person can come there and remove them any time. But if we go the tax reduction way, that will be a permanent solution. Yes.
What do you really think is running at the back of the mind of the president, whatever he is right now?
One thing I know, being a member of UDA and aspiring senator in Kiambu County, I've interacted with the president several occasions. And one thing I can tell you is that the guy listens. When you go to him and you tell him 1, 2, 3, he will listen to that. And that's why you saw him yesterday, being wherever he is. He held an online meeting with the oil, let me just call them the oil traders of this country, and the ministry guys. They were in online meeting to see how they can be able to solve this issue. The president is trying his level best, and he has been there trying to give this country permanent solution in most of these problems. Because he said, when he came into power, he said, I will not come here to give you a short-term solution. I'll try and give you a long-term solution. And that's why you see this issue of fuel, he is addressing it in the long run in the infrastructure fund, because you want all the roads and everything to be taken there. And we forget about this fuel levy to maintain roads, so on and so forth. When you have a kitty there independent which is being run and which is taking care of this road, then we are going to forget about these fuel taxes which is going to maintain our roads. So the president is there and is a caring president. Remember last time he reduced VAT from 16% to 8%. So even now I know he is not sleeping. He is there thinking and trying to see how he can be able to solve this issue constitutionally, because the president has said it again and again that I will not want to have solve the problem of Kenya unconstitutional, because at the end of the day, you know, Akina Okiwa Mutata and the other people of this world will go to court and that thing will be overturned. So he has said, let me take my time. I might take 1 or 2 or 3 days, but let me follow the law, let me do things constitutionally. And I know even today maybe he has even held meeting with leadership of the parliament, leadership of the Senate. But yesterday I was so happy to hear that he had a meeting with those oil sellers. And they must have come up with something with the ministry people. And throughout tonight, last night, we have seen the reduction of fuel. That's a right step towards the right direction. Let's go toward that direction. And let me kindly request Kenyan, kindly let us be patient with this regime. Let us be patient with President William Ruto. He resents and he is doing his level best. Allow him to make sure that he has followed the constitution. Let them follow the constitution as it has been written, so that we can have a long-lasting solution. It's true we can have a short-term solution which can solve the problem, but tomorrow we still go back to the same problem.
You talk about long-lasting solutions. So what are some of the long-lasting structural reforms that probably the government should put in place? Because next month we'll also have another review.
Yes.
Either it will remain the way it is, it will be reduced, it will be increased upwards or even downwards, either way. But we need to have a long-term structural reforms.
Yes. And me, I'm still going back to Parliament. President has led by example. He reduced VAT from 16% to 8%. Parliament, please go and sit down and reduce this 80 shillings to something like 70 or 60. Considering all the factors. Because even if president comes up today and say that this is an executive order, I would like us to reduce this tax from 80 to 60, Parliament must be
of which again can also be argued that, you know, the government is able to have all the intelligence reports real time, so that we can have, you know, to foresee what is just about to hit us in maybe in the next 1 month. Then why is it not so possible for the government to have all this contingency plan? Because if this was about to happen, then the 5 billion shillings that the government talked about that was there ought to have played a very big role to bridge that deficit and to bridge the gap.
Yeah, but I think this announcement was made last week on Friday.
Yes.
And then the picketing and demonstration was done on Monday. So it came so fast. Because remember also, people need to sit down, and when you are following the constitutional means, you need also to involve other bodies. Parliament could not have been convinced yesterday, to be very honest.
Yeah.
You need time for Parliament to be convened. There is laid down procedures. Even that Parliament has its own way of doing things. So I think this thing came too fast. I'm sure that the government was aware. They are aware, they have the intelligence, they have everything. But sometimes, if something is beyond you, there's nothing you can do. You just allow it to happen, and then you continue doing what you're supposed to be doing. At the end of the day, people will see what you have done.
I mean, let me ask this question. So what's the worst that can happen if the government said, okay, fine, we've had you, so we are going to reduce it to the level that you want. We are going to do away with the 10 shillings, we are going to do with the 46 shillings. What's the worst that can happen?
Okay. Depending with the taxes which you have just read there, we will have to affect some of the taxes. And that means that if it's fuel levy, which is going to maintenance and construction of the new roads, if we reduce it, then it means that maintenance of our roads and construction of our new roads will not be there. Then it's not worse, it's just what will, it's reality, that's what will happen. So if we reduce some of the taxes there, and you say that we have done away with these taxes, then as at the other end, we should also expect that we have reduced this. This is the money which was used to do 1, 2, 3. Then we should not expect anything from the government as far as that aspect is concerned. So it's so easy. It's so easy. From where I stand, I don't know if this is my own problem of understanding, but what I know and what I'm saying is that if I'm to be asked as Peter Ndongo, aspiring Senate Kiambu County UDA party, I would like them to reduce the taxes, if it can be possible. Considering all the factors, that this is the money which is used by the government to do ABCD, but we try to tighten our belt from where we are and reduce the taxes, so that now we can have a reduction of fuel. And also the Matatu Owners Association. So we'd also say that we needed 42 shillings, but you guys, you have done 20 shillings. We have agreed, let's move on.
I remember the president at some point during the last finance bill, he said, what did he say at State House?
Remind me?
When everything was now up and chaos, he said that he suspended the finance bill, and they had to go back and look on ways on how to re-engineer the finance bill. That was 2024. So what is so difficult in saying that, okay, fine, we've had you, we have to go back to work, we are going to listen to your chaos, you win this time around, but we're waiting for you at
Victor. These are two different things. Remember, the finance bill was a proposal which was taken to Parliament to be passed so that it can become law.
Yeah.
Today we are talking about law which has been passed and this has been implemented for all these years. We want to reduce it. And for us to remove this rule, we must use the constitutional way of removing these laws. So this is not the mandate of the president. In fact, if you look at it the right way, even reducing 8%, he overstepped his mandate. But now being a reasoning president, caring president, he was forced to do that. Now today is the mandate of the current parliament through its leadership to go and sit down, reconsider these taxes and reduce them. Or, if that is not possible, then propose the subsidy way. It's as simple as that. Yes. And also, as far as the Matatu Owners Association is concerned and the other Kenyan, we must meet somewhere. Government has reduced 10 shillings. Can we demand for another 10 shillings? And as we go up by 10 shillings, 20 shillings, so that we can meet somewhere. There's no way you can go to negotiation table with a fixed mind. No. You go to negotiate so that we can listen to you, listen to me, and agree.
There is this gentleman called Francis Awino. Francis Awino is a consumer and rights activist. He petitioned the High Court to suspend the latest fuel increase, which was announced by Energy and Petroleum Regulator, that is EPRA. He argues that the hikes are unconstitutional, lack transparency, and bypass adequate public participation. The keyword is public participation. The court petition challenges the maximum retail petroleum prices, which so super petrol also goes up, you know, and diesel and all that. But his core argument in his petition, he said that he alleges that the pricing formula is opaque and violates Article 47 of the Constitution on unfair administrative action. Two things, administrative action and another one is public participation. We've talked about the issue of the Finance Bill of 2024. The process of making another budget is watertight. Public participation is the backbone of everything. But why is it that when it comes to pricing the fuel, it's solely mandated to one person? And that's why this gentleman says...
one body. EPRA. One body.
That's why he's arguing that there's no public participation. That's why he says it's opaque.
No, as far as the...
Well, I don't want to get into the real merits and demerits of this suit.
But I would like just to respond clearly, just shortly, and say that in a very few words, say that the Constitution, let me just use the word Constitution. You know, me and you are not lawyers. A Constitution says that EPRA is mandated to increase or reduce fuel. And in its role, it doesn't involve anything like public participation, because they have been doing this all wrong. Because they consider all the factors, involve all the suppliers, involve all the retailers, involve all people who are involved in that sector, and come up with the reasonable price. For this one, public participation is not there, to be very honest. Yes, they are mandated to come up with reasonable price, considering all the factors, that is the seller and the consumer. And they come up with a very reasonable price, which will be accommodated by the both bodies. And that's why after this crisis yesterday, fuel crisis, they said, as far as we are mandated by law, we have reduced 10 shillings from diesel, is now trading at 230 shillings, and also we have increased kerosene to 181 shillings, with 38, because the Matatu Owners Association say that the price of petrol and kerosene should not be far away from each other, because if we don't do that, then people will do the mix up. And you know, it's very hard for you to know if the mixing the adoration has been done. So at least they are listening and they are acting. The most important thing is that they are acting. And they have done it last night. Today, as we are talking now, diesel is retailing at 230 shillings. As we are talking now, kerosene is trading at 191 shillings as per the request of Matatu Owners Association. Have we not done something as far as that one is concerned?
All right.
Mgara muwe na haki yake, mfe. President is doing something. And I know today, once he runs back, I don't know if you're going to run today or tomorrow, I don't know when. But I know also we are expecting something from our SNSA, the president. He is a reasoning, caring
What did you say again, Mugala?
Mugara muwe na haki yake mpe.
So utapatia haki aje na ushamu?
No, what do you mean? That last night we did something. Si mtu abia tumefanya kitu, my friend. We have at least have done something.
How will you give Mugala like haki yake?
No. No, what I'm saying is, us, the government which I support, last night reduced diesel price from with 10 shillings and 6 cents. So right now, as we are talking, the diesel is not trading at 242. It's trading at 232. Also, the Matatu Owners Association insisted that we have to increase the kerosene price. We did it. As we are talking today, the price of kerosene and that of petrol is not far from each other. Also considering that also people who consume kerosene are people who need us to be taken care of. We listened to them and we acted. So what I'm saying is this.
You listened to them and you acted. But
yes, we acted. We acted. And that's why I'm saying, Mugara muwe na haki yake mpe. Tuweni sisi lakini mtupe haki yetu that we have done something. We have acted. Yesterday, the way things were is not the same things are today. We are not saying this is not the end. This is not the end. Because I'm expecting that once the president comes back to this country, he will convene more and more meetings. You remember yesterday he held an online meeting. And I know this online meeting is the one which produced reduction of 10 shillings. Not anybody else. His Excellency is the president. I'm sure, I'm cocksure. And today, once he lands back, when they have their one-on-one meeting, maybe something else will be born out of that meeting. So we are so positive. And what I'm going to request Kenya, please be patient with His Excellency the President. He is a listening, caring president. Listen to him. These problems are some of them are beyond us. But whatever we can be able to do, whatever is within us, we will do our level best to overturn those. To deal with those problems. What you are saying is we are dealing with the real issue of the fuel. Be patient with that. The way you were patient with the former regime when things were like this, also be patient with this regime as we are trying to solve these problems.
What about diversification? Because we tend to get our oil from one point.
No, Saudi Arabia and UAE.
Exactly.
Yes.
Is it possible to have a diversification of point of origin?
It's possible. Me, I said that anything which can be able to address this real issue should be done.
Okay.
And if getting fuel from other sources can be able to help us solve these issues or deal with these issues, then automatically it should be done. Yes. And it's possible for that to be done. It's only that, Victor, right now we are using G2G. Otherwise, our fuel has been coming from all over.
Okay. Politics aside, what do you think the consumer is missing? What do you think Wanjiku is missing? Or what do you think Wanjiku is not being told in black and white?
I have been saying this, that a lot of misinformation. Remember, we passed our constitution, 2010 constitution, and a lot of misinformation has been read out. And those people who are supposed also to come out and tell Kenyans the real issues, I think they are missing a point somewhere. Because when I come here, I talk to Kenyan, I explain to them, they listen and they consider, and I get a lot of communication in my phone here. Yeah, at least, why don't you people tell us what you have told us? So I think there is a lot of misinformation, and those people who may be mandated to communicate are not communicating the information to our people. There is somewhere there is a miscommunication. And then there is somebody else who I think has been there also doing a lot of misinformation, miscommunication. I think that's where we lack it. That's where we lost it. That's where we lost it as a nation. Because when you go out there, for example, you find that the government is doing so much. But you listen to people, like yesterday I was listening to people who are being interviewed. They don't even remember the roads which have been done by this government. They don't remember, for example, like what you have just read to us here, start saying that 400 markets has been constructed, which has been constructed in each and every constituency, not one, not two, not three markets. For example, in my Kiabu County, we have already completed 28 markets, which are already completed. They are waiting, some of them are waiting to be open, some of them are almost at the very final stages. So I think we need to start now listening to the true voice. There have been so many voices in this country, and some of my fellow leaders, Victor, unfortunately, has decided to be the voice whereby they are misleading Kenyans and somehow inciting Kenyans. Please, can we stop all this nonsense, all this fighting, and deal with real issues and tell Kenyans the truth? That's what us as studio is stand for. As simple as that.
What do you make of what you've talked about, miscommunication and misrepresentation and lack of proper communication? Because that's now where the problem is.
Yes.
What you saw last night, yesterday, when the CS Opiyo Wandayi gave a press conference, then seconds later, one of the sector players recounted and refuted what the CS said, that no, we did not agree, based on what you've just said on communication.
as I've told you, I've just said it, and that the issue we have, the main issue we have as a country currently, is that the government is doing a lot of things, but there is somewhere where there is miscommunication. You know, communication in our universities, in our colleges, is a whole topic, is a whole cause. And if you miss that, you know you have lost everything. I think our people, our readers, and our people out there should know and relearn again the topic of communication. When I was doing my Bachelor of Marketing, communication was on its own.
Yes.
On its own. Because they know that if you have something inside you and you are not able to communicate, then you have lost it. Let us not dwell on you know, there are those temperaments. You remember all those temperaments. Some of the temperament people are not able to communicate. But I would like to tell people, now that we have colleges, we have all the other places, even online, you can go and learn and make sure that you know how to communicate to people. Those miscommunication are the ones which are misleading us. This is where we are losing it. How I wish our readers, wherever you are, me included, we are just having one thing. One, we are honest, and then we communicate the right thing at the right time to the right people, always.
Thank you. Peter Ndungu, I think that's a very good point to stop this. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you.
We've done 1 hour, two people, one-on-one, which is very good.
Yes, it's over.
Exactly.
Yes.
I just hope that at the end of the day, there's going to be a white smoke, because if they're going to have a discussion late in the day, that is the Sector Players Matatu Owners Association and the Ministry of Energy, that as well as that of Transport, they're going to have a way forward so that Kenyans can go back to their normal lives. That is going to be a very big step towards the right direction. But this is my word of caution. The Constitution allows you to picket and to have demonstrations peaceably. That is the Constitution. The police officers are also out there to protect lives and property, and they're mandated to do whatever they want to do so that life and property is protected.
Yes.
If you're going on the street to protest peaceably, please do so. Yesterday we saw a lady who lost her car.
Yes.
And she said on live television that she did not have an insurance to cover for that. And that is a total loss. So, in everything that you do, be human enough and think of your fellow Kenyan. Think of that. But before you think of your fellow Kenyan, think of your own life. You go out there, you loot, you break into a shop, you are shot dead. Does it benefit you about anything?
No.
Let this be resolved. If you don't have to go to work, just stay at home. To the employers, just understand. It's just for a day or two and things will be better. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Victor Lo. Good morning.
Good morning.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first. You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Kajiado Entasuba. Ni habari njema kwa wakazi wa Kajiado. Burdan tunayo. Nosim FM sasa inavuma kupitia masafa yetu mapya ya 105.7.
Kitabautwa County Olkejwado.
Pata uhondo na burdan kemkem kwa lugha unayoienzi ya Kimaa. Ukiwa na Manga, Rongai, Mashuru, Kitengela, Ilbisil, Kiserian, Ngong au hata Isinya, stesheni ya Nosim FM inakupakulia mambo yote kupitia 105.7. Ni mwamko mpya na Nosim FM 105.7 Kajiado County.
Nosim FM, Osimlino.
They say magic is a myth, but they haven't been looking in the right places. From the heartbeat of the city to the soul of our culture. Taste the magic in every bite. From authentic flavors to unforgettable experiences. Journey into the wild, where nature holds secrets older than time. Discover places you've never imagined. Hidden wonders waiting to be found. This is not just travel. This is not just culture. This is magical scenes. See Kenya. Feel the magic.
Are you ready for the next big thing in tech? Well, we'll spotlight Kenya's brightest young minds, game-changing startups, and breakthrough technology that are shaping our future. From AI and robotics to sustainable futures, we bring you the stories behind the scenes. KBC Channel 1. Remember, tech starts here.
Wewe leo naona ukinibaia chai. Shika.
Kijana mdogo anakushinda na akili. Hivi ndio nataka kusema? Monica, si nilikwambia sikutaki kwa mikutano yangu ya kisiasa?
Hashiki simu, hasemi lolote. Yaani kazi yako ni ngumu kweli.
Nikusaidia nini wewe?
Maisha yangu yamo hatarini.
Na nimewaandalia kitu kitamu.
Na nileta kwa picha mzuri kama tutakaribisha wageni pamoja.
Monica, mimi ndio nataka hiyo kiti, sio wewe.
Wewe useme wewe tulia.
Nasikia walilipelea kutoka mapema.
Josh, babako atasema nini akisikia hii?
Wewe ulivunja kwako, sitaangalia uvunje kwangu.
Kila mtu abaki kwa leni yake, sawa?
Okay. Tutaongea.
Ulinisaliti.
Abidi. Kwa hivyo nyinyi mnaona kwamba sisi tunacheza hapa?
Si mchezo chief.
Hii kesi mimi naweza nikaitupilia mbali.
Your courier's here.
That was quick. It's fine. No pressure. But she really needs someone to go with her today. I know, I'll go. Nana, come here. Come help me out.
You stay there.
No.
Just stay there.
Do you listen to my mom or to me?
When you're around to you, when she's around to her.
You traitor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kenya.
Wake up with Good Morning Kenya, the morning show that's got it all.
We dive deep into issues shaping our country.
Youth are a voice of a nation.
What is the next step for the young people?
Unpacking political landscape from Monday to Wednesday.
We discuss family matters.
It is very important to guard your relationship.
And for your health,
Someone doesn't wake up and they become an addict. It's in stages.
we've got you covered each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Every Wednesday, it's all about the viewpoint.
A day in politics is like 1,000 years.
Unpacking the biggest stories of the week, getting you insights and getting you ready for your day.
And the package is not yet done. I get to fix your Thursday with some entertainment. Entertainment Thursday, it is.
Good morning, Kenya.
We shape your day.
Good Morning Kenya, every weekday morning on KBC Channel 1.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first. You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migu. Now we shift gears and talk about something different. We are talking about the augmented worker. How do we boost output without risking job security, and how do we close the market readiness gap? And I'll be having that conversation with Dr. Francis Kangure, who is an HR consultant and senior faculty associate at Blue Concept Africa, and he will be joining me via Zoom for this conversation because we are living at a time when there is a convergence of AI, robotics, and also augmented reality, all of which are redefining how humans work, how humans think, and how they create value. And also when you look at businesses, they are chasing very unprecedented productivity gains. But then again, can the world build a more efficient workforce without making millions feel economically disposable? And also we shall be exploring the augmented worker and whether the labor markets are ready for this fragmentation or transformation rather. Dr. Francis, if you can hear me, welcome to Good Morning Kenya. And how are you doing this morning?
Good, Mike, and happy to be here and looking forward to the conversations. It's quite interesting because we'll be discussing actually the future of work.
Yes. Let's get into it. And when we talk about the augmented worker, who are we defining really?
An augmented worker is a worker who actually understands technology, understands AI, but also is able to employ human capacity. It's a mix of the two. There is a misconception that AI is going to replace human beings, but that is not the correct position. The correct position is AI is enhancing the human capacity. So an augmented worker is the worker who understands deeply human intelligence and artificial intelligence, including technology, and how these two can be able to boost and improve productivity for a human being.
Very interesting. And also, when you look at augmentation, how is it different from total pure automation and as opposed and what you'd say is outright job replacement?
Yeah, this is what I would say. And going back to the definition, an augmented worker is the one who understands technology and is able to utilize technology to improve productivity. Augmentation is actually looking at the interface between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. Where does those two things meet? Where do we need human capacity to be able to implement a specific task or responsibility or an assignment? And where do we need to use technology, including AI, robotics, etc.? I mentioned the term the future of work. The future of work calls for an augmented workforce. A workforce that is able to employ technology where we actually need technology. I'll give you an example. If you're working in an organization or you have a job that employs a lot of repetitive tasks, these repetitive tasks can be handed over to an agent, to an AI agent, to technology, so that it can free your time and create more space for human creativity, for human understanding, for human critical decision making. That is what we are looking at. When we talk about purely automating, is actually creating a robot or an agent that basically does exactly what a human being can do without any human intervention. But what we are seeing in the world more and more, even when we are creating these technologies, agents, robots, and whatever, at some point, there is a critical point where human capacity, human critical thinking, judgment, emotional intelligence is required. Remember, human beings are social beings. Even when you create a robot to serve the customers, for example, in a restaurant, you find that that is not the best situation that you can be able to create for a human being. People like seeing other people. And that is where the future is going. Where organizations will be able to create very, very strong collaboration between technology and human beings, that is where the organizations are going to thrive.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting, because for years the conversation around technology have centered on machines, ostensibly replacing people. But then again, here comes augmentation, which is a different model. And which means humans working alongside intelligent systems. But then again, when you look at businesses today, are they genuinely enhancing human capability in this regard, or are we simply witnessing a softer language for workforce reduction?
Here's the thing. There is a lot of disruptions happening in the area of human capital management. And one of the areas are these new technologies. What is happening with many organizations, they have not completely understood where to employ technology, which AI agents, which AI tools, and what they specifically need to do. And that is where the misconception is. And many organizations think by automating specific processes, procedures, and tasks, you need to reduce people working in the organization. The true position, when you look at human capital management, is automation need to increase productivity, not necessarily to displace human beings. I'll give you some figures. The current figures by the World Economic Forum predict that by the year 2030, about 92 million jobs will be displaced by AI, by technologies. But there will be new emerging jobs, and this will be around 160 million. So if you see the net effect, is that human beings are not going to be displaced by AI, but there will be emerging skills and talents required. And therefore, there will be new, around 58 million jobs created. So if you look at the net effect, automation, employing AI agents will support organizations to boost productivity. When you boost productivity, then you realize you need additional talents for you to be able to continue at the level of productivity that is required. So basically what is happening with augmented workforce management, productivity goes up, the need for more people comes in place. Of course, there are those repetitive, routine jobs, routine tasks, routine activities that will be displaced. And of course, there are people who will not be required if they do not know how to employ certain technologies that will be required going forward.
Mm-hmm. And you know, speaking of numbers, various research studies have showed that augmentation could raise labor productivity by up to 40% by around the year 2035, and AI could also add around $15.7 trillion to the global economy by 2030. So where exactly will these gains come from? Is it a matter of reduced labor costs, faster decision making, higher worker output, or maybe entirely new industries? What do you think?
I would say that there are so many opportunities. One area that you have pointed out, and this is the true position, is that human capacity is going to multiply. Okay? Think about your job and the repetitive tasks that you do. Okay? You write reports, you write minutes, okay? You prepare for podcasts, wherever. All these can be automated. So you can have an agent that prepares your reports, prepares your minutes, and so on and so forth. And therefore, it leaves you a lot of room for creativity, for creating new ideas, for creating new products. That is where the productivity and human capacity is going to create new opportunities. That means a person who was able to do, 20% of productive work within the day, they are able to do 80%. They are likely to double that because they have support systems, support technology that enhances their technology. The main thing is that productivity will come from human creativity. And remember, human creativity is the one that hits new product, new services, enhances productivity for the companies, and so on. And that is where the real opportunities will come from. Improved, increased, enhanced human capacity as a result of augmentation with AI and other technologies.
So in other words, what we are witnessing in terms of advancements in AI, robotics, and data analytics will not replace human input. It will just enhance productivity based on what you've said.
Correct. The only caveat that we usually give to organizations and people is that make sure that you have increased your knowledge of technology and you know how to use it. Technology, AI, is not going to replace you as a worker, as a manager, as a leader. But technology is likely to displace those people who do not know how to use it. That's the caveat. But those people who know how to take advantage of technology, use it, their capacity will be enhanced, they will be required more by organizations, their productivity is going to improve, they will become a talent that everybody is looking for because they have the capabilities and talents that are required in the workplace. I'll give you an example.
Let me
in
cut
the
you short.
last decade, there were so many people who were displaced by technologies as a result of computing. Those people who refuse to learn how to use computers and so on, and they wanted to continue with paper and pen, they were actually displaced. Same is happening
the
today.
Studio where of KBC, where CS Treasury, that is John Buddy, is speaking to us, and Victor Olo is on site. Victor, if you can let us know what is happening on that side. The CS Treasury is...
All right. The ongoing strike that is affecting the nation, that is the Matatu Owners Association, the sector players, is affecting many people in the country, that is the business community and all that. And we are being told that the Cabinet Secretary, that is John Mbadi, is here to talk to us on what is really affecting the government and even the sector players in the country. And that is on the Matatu Owners Association, the sector players, and even the oil marketers and the importers who are saying that the Strait of Hormuz, what is happening in the Gulf, is what is really affecting the oil importation and the high prices of fuel, more so the diesel one here in the country. And that is why I just want to have a conversation, a very quick one, with the Cabinet Secretary, that is John Mbadi, to give us an insight on what is really happening and whether they are going to have a white smoke later in the day, now that there was a stalemate yesterday with that particular negotiations that ended around 9 p.m. last night, and that is what is going to be happening. We're waiting to see how it's going to pan out later in the day. That is the sector players, the Matatu Owners Association, as well as the oil importers, the rig owners, and also the Cabinet Secretary, the Transport Ministry, as well as that of the Finance, to give us a way forward on whether this is going to end or not. But as it is, there is a stalemate, and of course we're still waiting to hear what is going to happen. The government government said that the strike was, what does not really was uncalled for, and that is some of the questions I want to pose to CS Mbadi to give us his insight why he said that the strike was uncalled for, and what is his take when it comes to the 8% reduction of VAT. The government talking about the reduction and whether it's still going to affect the importation and even the fuel prices in the country. That is what is going to be discussed. And the impact on the VAT, the impact, the 8%, is it going to affect the fuel pump prices? Most of the matatu owners in the country are actually diesel users, and that is saying that price is so high that it's going to put a strain on the end user, that is the consumer, on the prices of matatu fares and even the cost of production. You can talk about the farmers also transporting their wares and their products from the farm to marketplaces, and that is what they're saying that is really affecting the end product. And of course, the issue of G2G, the intensifying debate on the government to abandon this. What is the government talking about when this is happening? But then now we're just waiting to see how this is going to happen. We're still waiting for CS John Mbadi to join us here very shortly. Remember, this is day 2 of the ongoing strike in the country, where many places have actually been rendered impassable, more so in the city here, where we had running battles between the police and the protesters better part of the day, and later on in the evening, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, Kipchumba Murkomen, said that 4 people actually died during that particular demonstrations, and we just hope that something is going to happen later in the day to just give us a real breakthrough on whether this stalemate is going to be resolved or not. But then, as it is, the government is also saying that they're going to have an agreement later in the day or even tomorrow based on the negotiations. Remember, even the president held an online meeting with the sector players. That is according to Professor Kithure Kindiki, who is the deputy president, who said that the president held an online meeting. He is in Baku, Azerbaijan, for the Urban Forum, where Kenya is also represented, where the president also talked about the affordable housing project that he is undertaking in the country. But that is also part of the discussion that is going to be taking space today or even tomorrow, based on what they are going to have and whether the government is going to reduce the cost of fuel, who is going to blink first, the taxes, the levies, 9 of them, who is going to be taking the heat when it comes to this one. And that is why the government is also giving the best foot forward to ensure that all these things that the Kenyans are talking about are really given first space or the front row to unlock this stalemate that is actually putting the country to a halt. The Matatu Owners Association yesterday in the evening, immediately after that press briefing by Energy CS Opio and I, they refuted the claim that they did not have any agreement, and that is where we are today. And they said that because of that stalemate, the strike is still on. Remember, the ripple effect can't be seen. The Matatu Owners Association say that even after that, they are losing to a tune of close to 6 billion shillings per day. And that is why I'm quite privileged to have the CS for Treasury here, John Mbadi, to give us an update. At the background, you can see him, just to give us a quick update on what's happening, and perhaps he's here. He's a very busy man. Bwana Waziri, good morning.
Yes,
good to see you. My name is Victor Lofine. Thank you.
Yes.
We are live on KBC Channel 1. Just 2
morning,
questions. A quick one. You said that the strike is absolutely uncalled for. What do you mean?
The strike is completely uncalled for because we need to understand the genesis of the crisis we are in. This is a global phenomenon. If you look at what is happening across the globe, 20% of the fuel supply in the whole world comes through Strait of Hormuz, which has been blocked. And so that has reduced the supply of fuel across the globe to 80%. And for African countries where Kenya belongs, the bulk of our fuel comes through the Strait of Hormuz. And so now our suppliers, or the marketers, the oil marketing companies, that suppliers, have to go elsewhere to source for fuel. Some far places, some go up to India to source for fuel. And that has made the prices of petroleum products to go up, so that what we call the Platts price or the index price has gone up from about 642 in February US dollars before the beginning of this war to 1,120 US dollars per metric ton. That is over 80% increase. You can see the government has already intervened significantly. First, in the first month of April, when the effects of this crisis hit first, we subsidized by about 6.2 billion shillings the price of fuel. Yes. Now we have subsidized again by 5 billion shillings, and we have another 5 billion to going forward to the month of June, because we couldn't exhaust it, and we don't know when this war will end. And now we have also reduced the value-added tax. I know people have also talked about other levies, that we should cut them, should reduce them, but it should also be understood that Kenya is a big economy, and we have a commitment already. We are in the month of May. We have basically exhausted our budget. So where are you going to cut the budget if you don't have that revenue? Are you going to cut people's salaries?
But is it the reason why you said that the Treasury does not have any other option left?
No. I don't say that we don't have any other option left. So what I'm saying is that options are limited now. We have run out of options. We could squeeze ourselves, but at a cost. So we must be prepared that if there is any other additional action we are going to take. You know, my role in this ministry is to advise and advise professionally. Now, if we are going to take any other action, and which can only be to remove some levies or cut taxes on petroleum products or fuel, which is a temporary measure in my view. But the effect is going to be dire. Because right now, as I mentioned, we are in the month of May. We have only June left. So the budget is definitely has already been implemented, largely. So what has not been implemented is the salary for June, is the transfers to counties for June. What are we going to reduce? Are we going to reduce the transfers to counties? Are we going to cut salaries of public servants? It is a problem, but that we must accept there is a problem. But we are engaging presently. Yesterday you saw Waziri Wandai, Waziri Chirchir and myself. We met these players in the matatu industry, and we discussed, and that discussion is going to progress even today. We are looking for solutions because we can't just sit back. However difficult it is like a COVID period. You have to look for measures, and those measures, we are at desperate times. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
A quick one, just before you leave. The intensifying debate to abandon the G2G agreement. Are you perhaps in any talks to abandon this one, to give oil marketers a free market?
Look at countries where there is a free market. They are not doing better. In fact, let me tell you, that is the most uninformed proposal. Why? Because first, with G2G, we will be assured of supply. There are countries today which have started rationing fuel. For example, Burundi have told their people, you can only take 30 liters per week. And then there are countries where they are advising people to work from home. So, us at least, we are assured of that supply. That's number one. Number two, look at the premium cost on fuel. G2G has guaranteed us a price that we negotiated several months ago, which is much lower than the current prices of freight, insurance, and premium. If you go to our neighboring countries, they are paying $250 or thereabout per metric ton. In Kenya, we are still paying between 78 and 97. So it is ill-advised to even imagine that we can abandon G2G. Thirdly and lastly, G2G guarantees the security or stability of the foreign exchange because there is no immediate demand on forex. If we have immediate demand on forex in Kenya and the shilling depreciates, the price of fuel will be so high because it will now be based on the strength of the shilling to the dollar. That is not something that Kenyans should contribute.
Should you expecting something today?
Well, it depends on how the discussion and negotiation goes, because again, we can only do what is possible. But we will discuss. I am happy that we started a very constructive and productive debate with these players yesterday.
Thank you.
I'm sure that, God willing, we will be able to unlock this stalemate as fast as we possibly can.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Waziri. Thank you so much. All right. That is... All right. That is CS Chichir. That is CS John Mbadi giving us an update on what we should expect, and of course giving us an update is saying that everything is going to happen late in the day, and of course hoping for the best that this is going to give a stalemate and unlock whatever is happening in the action. Mike 2 in studio. Mike 2 back.
Thank you so much, Victor, for bringing us that update from the CS Treasurer John Buddy, who has said that we shall be expecting something later today as they continue engaging players within the Matatu industry to end the stalemate that is causing the paralysis within the transport sector. Of course, we shall be bringing you more updates of those events as they unfold. Coming back to our conversation, we're talking about the augmented worker, and we were exploring the aspect where reduced labor cost, faster decision making, and higher worker output and new industries. As will they contribute to the gains that have been suggested by various research studies, which indicate that 40%, up to 40% of productivity will go up by 2035, and also AI could contribute $15.7 trillion to the global economy by 2030. But then again, one of the biggest concerns, Daktari, within the global stage is that AI may widen inequality gap by benefiting highly skilled workers while displacing routine jobs. But then again, the question here comes, does augmentation democratize productivity really, or does it pose a risk of creating a two-tier workforce where we have a highly augmented workers and those that are economically susceptible workers? Daktari?
This is a good question, Mike. And I would say that today that's a big dilemma. A big dilemma because access to technology will basically provide advantage to those people who have access to that technology. And those people who are able to learn and learn very fast, they are going basically to have an advantage over the others. But the argument is not that the highly skilled workers will have an advantage over others. The advantage is ability to adapt. It doesn't matter the level of skills. What matters is the talent that are required at every level. Remember, in an organization, there are various levels of skills that are required. Within those skills, you require specific technology capabilities among the workers that you have. So it doesn't mean that the highly skilled employees will necessarily have an advantage. The advantage will come to those who are able to learn, adapt, learn faster, and be able to employ technology at their level. Remember, you can be highly skilled, okay, as a professional, for example, an engineer in your own line, but you do not know how to use technology. If you are a graduate engineer, then you have a diploma holder, a technician, who learns very fast, adapts to technology. That person is the one who is going to thrive in the workplace. So the imbalance will not be at the level of skills or the level of education. It will be at the level of how well an individual is able to adapt to technology.
And when you say when you say adapt, Daktari, it's a matter of upskilling and getting to be conversant with the technologies that are involved in various professions, right?
Yes, that is upskilling. It is upskilling and reskilling, so that people can be able to adapt and they can be able to employ technology where it is needed in their specific jobs. What it needs, it might.
When you look at what you're talking about from a practical point of view, are there sectors that are experiencing the augmentation that we are talking about in an aggressive manner from where you stand?
Yes. There are sectors that are actually absolutely really benefiting and benefiting very fast from augmentation. One of the areas that I have seen actually progressing very fast because of the vantage point is actually tech industries. Tech industries are those industries that are actually introducing these innovations which are employed across all the other industries. So the tech industry has an advantage. They have been able to understand what human skills can be enhanced by technology. And those tech companies, actually, they are using human knowledge, human capacity, human processes, and understanding how a human being works. And then they develop agents that mimic human beings. You see, they have the advantage of both worlds. They understand technology. Now they are learning about human beings and how we work and how we can be supported to work better. So they are experiencing higher productivity, higher innovation, and that is why you see across the world, the most profitable companies today are in tech, especially those who are developing AI solutions in the world. Of course, other sectors like education, healthcare, manufacturing, and so on, they are adapting to these technologies, but I think at a slower pace because they are actually learning from tech sector, so to speak.
And when you look at organizations, I want you to talk about the dangers of, in a case where organizations may have to invest in AI tools as opposed to, they invest more in AI tools more than investing in worker preparedness. What are we looking at in that situation?
That's a dangerous situation. Investing more in tech, in AI, and forgetting the human being in the workplace is a very dangerous position. Because you are actually creating a workspace or a workplace where human beings are not able to thrive. The other way around can work better. You start by creating awareness. You start by training people, by creating learning solutions for people to adapt to the current technologies. And therefore, when you introduce new technologies, then this technology finds human beings who are prepared to use this technology. When you implement technology within the organization and nobody can be able to use that technology, that is counterproductive. It's double loss. One, you have human beings in the workplace who are not able to fit in that workplace. They are not productive. They have a lot of fear. They feel that they are being displaced. And you have invested in technology, so you have used money to build systems and tech which are not productively utilized. The best thing to do is prepare the human capital very well, reskill people, upskill people, create change management system, then introduce technology step by step so that there is proper argumentation between people and technology. That is how the organizations are going to thrive.
That is true, Dr. because what you've addressed is like creating a market gap where workers simply lack the skills, but then again, they are operating in an AI-driven environment. That now means that the company has to invest in making sure that their workforce is well conversant with the technological advancements that the companies are taking. But then again, historically, Industrial Revolution created jobs while destroying others, so to speak. When you look at the AI wave, what makes it fundamentally different, if at all it's different?
Now, AI is fundamentally different and is one of the most innovative technologies that are happening in our age. And why it is different is because it's actually mimicking a human being, okay? You think about a task that previously was being performed by a human being, and here you are introducing technology that can be able to do exactly that, okay? This creates a big disruption. But look at it the other way. The world requires higher productivity capacities across all the industries, okay? There is even higher competition. The world is experiencing increased populations. If you think about 50 years ago, the world population was half of what we have today. So what does that tell you? Consumption has gone up. People are demanding more goods and services, okay? Industries are growing. All the sectors require more competitive human capacity. Human beings have a bit of limitation if they do not employ machines, if they do not employ technology. The advantage of AI is that it is coming at a time where the world is more competitive. We need higher productivity, and therefore it comes in to enhance the capacity for human beings to be able to produce more, to meet the demands of our current times. And how is it different from the previous displacements? The difference is that the productivity has gone up, so the displacement will not be as serious as the previous industrial revolutions. What it will do, it will displace a fraction of the population in the workplace, but it's going to introduce new emerging skills that are required. Young people have an advantage because they were born in an era where tech was available everywhere, at home, at school, universities, colleges, and therefore they are quickly adapting to what is happening. Actually, they know more, they can adapt better, they can learn more easily, and they are able to fit in the current environment. So I think there are more opportunities in AI era than the losses that we are going to experience.
You know, Kenya as a country, we are a developing economy, and youth unemployment is one of the things that as a country we grapple with. For a country like Kenya, where unemployment and informal labor remain a major challenge, does augmentation present an opportunity to enhance productivity or just deal with productivity barriers? Could it deepen exclusion for workers, without, especially those that do not have digital access and the advanced skills now that we are talking about?
A very good perspective, and this is what I would say. If you look at Kenya as a country, Kenya is very resilient. Kenyans easily learn and adapt. If you look at technology adaptation in Kenya, compared to the region, Kenya is more advanced. We have a higher number of skilled and learned population, and this is an advantage. For the young people, yes, we have some inequalities. Remember, there are young people in this country who have not been able to access tertiary education. Those people can seriously be affected by the new technology that is emerging, because they do not know how to use it. It even becomes more difficult for them to learn and adapt. That becomes a challenge. But look at it this way. People who are working in blue-collar jobs, where you actually need people, you need hands, like construction. What will happen is that the experts will innovate more. There will be more demand for construction, for example, and therefore even the manual jobs that will be required by the economy are going to go up. So that is the dilemma. You are going to have more innovative people. They are going to increase productivity. There will be more demand for infrastructure. Construction industry will boom as a result of innovation. So even people who may not be tech savvy, who may not be able to use AI, will be required in this economy. The thing is, for those of us who are in the expert sector, or what we call white-collar skilled professionals, we have no option. We have to reskill, we have to upskill. But if you look at it, the net effect is more productivity, is more jobs. Remember, in Kenya today, there are young people who are working for foreign companies. They are based in Kenya as a result of technology. What is happening to these young people? They're even earning more. They are working from home. They don't have to commute and so on and so forth. So within this disruption, I see a lot of opportunities for young people in Kenya and the region.
And could augmentation create a situation where it's unintentional, where there's a permanent expectation of quote unquote hyperproductivity, where there's an expectation on the worker to do more with fewer resources and less rest?
Yes, that's an interesting perspective. Nowadays, there is a hidden cost in every workplace. And this hidden cost is mental wellness issues. Due to higher expectations, employees are not only working when you actually see them physically in the office. Some of them are working almost 24 hours due to technology. Okay? If you look at the employees today, all of them have gadgets. At home, in the office, when they are traveling, they can respond to emails, they can send a report, they can attend to customers. So people have no time to rest. That is the hidden cost of hyper productivity, higher expectations in the workplace. What are organizations expected to do? You have to create what we call employee support programs. And these support programs are supposed to help employees to create what we call work-life balance. Understand that you are in the workplace to be able to enhance your quality of life. So be productive for 8 hours, but also find time to rest. Employers and leaders must invest in employee wellness, employee support programs, because hyper-productivity, high-tech is not giving us room for rest. It is keeping us on autopilot. Everybody is working through it. And this is dangerous for organizations and for people's health.
Before I let you go, Dr. I'm going to ask you this, and I'll take this as your closing remarks. What do you think? What does future-proofing, so to speak, a worker now actually means? Because we are living in a technologically advanced age. Are there skills that will be becoming more valuable, especially now that we are dealing with machines that are becoming more capable?
And the future of work, future proving, lies in those skills which cannot be replaced by any machine, by any technology. Innate human skills that rest on only in human capacity. I'll give you an example. Empathy, emotional intelligence, critical decision making, leadership, ethics. That is where the future lies, because repetitive tasks are being taken up by machines, but they are basic human innate capacities that will remain forever. Think about anything in your job, in your work, that cannot be done by a machine. And it's only a human being who can be able to do. Those are the capacities that we are supposed to upskill, to reskill, to learn more about, so that even as we actually hand over repetitive tasks within the organization to machines and so on, we understand that human capacity remains superior. All these AI agents, the innovators use human brain to understand how to create these agents, tells you that human being is still superior, and there are those areas that are predominantly left for human beings to be able to perform. And by the way, this is a discussion we'll be having very soon at Blue Concept Africa or Sereni on 5th of June, where we are going to discuss the future of work and what leaders should be able to do to be able to support organizations where technology, AI, and people thrive together. And to be able to create skills that are required not only today, but they will be required in future, and everybody in the organization feels included. Let nobody be left behind. And what organizations can do actually is to create an AI policy, for example, so that if they create a policy whereby they make sure that nobody is left behind and everybody feels ready and they are able to support organizations' growth and productivity.
Thank you so much, Dr. for making time.
Thank you for having me.
That is Dr. Francis Kangure, who is an HR consultant, senior faculty associate at Blue Concept Africa, speaking to us about the augmented worker and how we can boost output without risking job security. This conversation ends now, but do not go too far. I'll be back with Health Tuesday, and today we'll be looking at the Parkinson's disease. Stay with us.
Hello, fabulous ladies. Welcome to the talk show that's all about sisterhood, empowerment, and unfiltered conversation. We will be focusing on women. We believe in women.
We are really changing.
We are creating a safe space for women to connect, thrive, and share.
Just because you're a woman on a bike, you're labeled in a certain way.
It's not just a talk show, it's a movement.
When they are standing, we need to stand out.
From heartwarming tales to hilarious adventures.
They could ask me, Catherine, why are you learning?
We are turning the spotlight on women who are breaking barriers in their individual fields.
You have to have a vision. You are the leaders of Kenya today.
Keeping it honest and relatable.
Mental health is real.
Yes.
Where there is no communication, there is no relationship.
Join the sisterhood on KBC TV for Dada's show.
The bottom-up economic transformation agenda is not just a plan on paper.
Manifesto tulioandika na tukauzia Wakenya na wakatupigia kura, sio gazeti ya kufunga nyama.
It is happening on the ground across Kenya.
Enda subabogi Moriega Jodhurwa untie Mugani Pamjambo.
In agriculture,
Turkana wameamkia mambo ya ukulima sasa.
on our roads,
Lami black anaingia hapa anagausha hapa. Wacha bana.
in health,
All our patients are in SHA 100%.
in housing,
Kutoa watu kutoka nyumba za mabati kuleta nyumba kama hii ya ghorofa ni kitu mzuri sana.
in our markets,
Umetukumbuka sisi mama mboga, shida zetu umezitatua.
and so much more.
It's a good thing the government inakuja mashinani na this is all what we have been requesting.
This is transformation. This is impact. This is delivering the plan. Every Friday on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migwi. Health Tuesday, time now to talk about the whole aspect of Parkinson's disease. We want to understand the Parkinson's disease because the cases of Parkinson's disease globally are on the rise, and it is one of the fastest growing neurological disorder, and millions of people and families are affected. And some of them even drawn into caregiving roles. So we want to just move beyond the surface and understand the lived realities of this disease and what it truly means for patients, caregivers, and even the future of the healthcare system with regard to this disease. We can look a little bit at the figures. According to the World Health Organization, global Parkinson's cases have more than doubled in the last 25 years. And also, it is estimated that over 8.5 million people were living with Parkinson's disease in 2019. So you can imagine that number has gone up. And the newer burden studies just estimate that the prevalence may now exceed over 11 million people globally, and deaths linked to Parkinson's disease increased by more than 100% since the year 2000. That is according to World Health Organization. Now, to dissect this conversation, I'm joined by Audrey Oronda, who is an IOC young leader and Parkinson's activist. Karibu sana.
Asante.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Mimi niko salama. We are still managing in this Nairobi.
I understand.
Let's get into the conversation. Maybe let us know what Parkinson's disease is all about.
Okay.
Yes.
So like you've explained, it's a neurodegenerative condition. By neurodegenerative, it means with time, it affects the brain, especially the dopamine levels. So when the dopamine levels of your brain go down, mostly people associate dopamine as a happy hormone. but dopamine does a lot of stuff in our bodies, including controlling our movement, how we sleep, how we talk. And so when you have Parkinson's, with these reduced levels of dopamine, you are affected by your movement. You're affected by how you speak, how you eat, how you talk, how you sleep. So generally, that's how I can explain Parkinson's.
And when you look at the numbers that I've just given, 11 million globally, we could be looking at those numbers. What do you make of that? Are we looking at a case where something serious needs to happen?
Yes, something serious needs to happen because, especially in Africa, we don't know much about it. So it's affecting us, and yet not so many people know about it. So I think awareness is important to tell us the reality that this disease is here, and we need to be able to manage it as soon as possible.
When you talk about awareness, what do you think is the biggest gap that you are facing in terms of making people know and understand what pertains to this disease that you're talking about?
There is a lot of misconceptions regarding Parkinson's disease, and it's mainly caused by lack of awareness. So if people don't know about the disease, they tend to assume different causes or different reasons as to why someone has Parkinson's. So in the health sector specifically, there is a lot of misdiagnosis. Most health professionals are not aware that Parkinson's exists. So when a patient goes and starts explaining these symptoms, I'm having motor symptoms, I'm having trouble sleeping, most health professionals don't relate it to Parkinson's disease. And if these health professionals don't know about the disease, then how can you even manage it? So it's like there's a huge awareness gap in the health sector. Most hospitals don't have the dopamine, the levodopa, the medicine to manage the disease. So it's hard to even advise the people who come with these symptoms in hospitals.
And you mentioned about misconceptions that people may have around Parkinson's disease. Explore some of them.
There are a lot, but I can say we mostly relate it to age, that most people who have Parkinson's are old, but we have cases where Parkinson's patients have been diagnosed at a very early age. There is one of my patients I'm interacting with who was diagnosed immediately after Form 4. And so this this misconception makes people feel if they have these early symptoms, they can't go for help, and they can't even connect it to Parkinson's because they know it only affects the elderly. Another misconception is drunkenness. So some people say these are the post effects of being a drunkard.
Like withdrawal systems.
Yes, the withdrawal symptoms of being a drunkard, which is not the case. So when they see a patient, they might say this person is a drunkard, and maybe the patient needs help. And if the help is not acquired at an early stage, then the disease progresses. So such a misconception is really bad for the patients and the caregivers. Another one I can say is a curse or witchcraft. But
that is very common, actually.
This is more common in the rural areas. So where I have been based at Kilifi, it's really common. We have this misconception about it being a witchcraft case, it being a curse, and so people don't want to associate with you because they say you'll curse or you'll cause. It will affect them, so
like
they don't want.
Contagious.
Yeah, they don't want to associate with you.
And when you are a Parkinson's activist, is there a specific moment that or gap that you saw in the system that made you decide, you know what, I want to push for the awareness of Parkinson's rather than just support and give sympathy to the people I've seen being affected by this disease?
Yeah, at first I only wanted to give support, and that was my main objective, to really work with the patients and the caregivers in helping them manage the symptoms. But with time, as I interacted with that community, I realized not so many people know about it. The people I'm close with, they don't know about it, and yet it's affecting them. But with the awareness now, people are opening up. Someone calls you, they're like, okay, Audrey, I saw someone, I see he has Parkinson's or she has Parkinson's and they need help. And because of the awareness, they can go forward and ask for help from the patient, from the health professionals, which was not the case before. So awareness creates a platform that most communities can meet, most communities can start a conversation and share different ways we can help bridge this gap in the Parkinson's community.
And in your experiences, what is the most misunderstood reality that you've seen about Parkinson's that even the newly diagnosed patients often do not seem to grasp at first?
So, most think you can't manage it. Like when you have Parkinson's, it's a dead end. There is no hope for you. If it's done,
you are done.
That's it. There is no hope for you. But if you take your medicines on time, if you do a lot of exercises and physiotherapy, and if you're in this support group system where you can share your experiences as caregivers and as patients, then it becomes easier to manage. If you have a lot of support, it becomes easier to manage. It's not a dead end, but most patients at first, they always see it as a dead end. Before they accept even personally that I have Parkinson's and this is now my life, it takes time.
Yeah, because they have to process that and come to terms with the fact that they have the disease. You know, many patients do experience symptoms, maybe even years before they can get a correct diagnosis. When you look at it, where is the breakdown within that journey? Is it a matter of the primary health care? Is it specialist referrals, or it's a matter of maybe at community level? Where is the breakdown?
There is both the primary health care who are not given this information about Parkinson's, so they don't know how to diagnose and how to refer now to the specialists. And also to the specialists, there are not very many neurologists in Kenya. So you find like most are based in Nairobi. We have very few in Mombasa and Kisumu. So besides the 3 centers, it's hard to find a neurologist who can accurately diagnose you with Parkinson's. So there is also that gap. But before we reach the specialists, the primary health care professionals need to be aware that there is this condition. And if someone approaches with these symptoms, we can most likely now refer to the specialist. So there is that gap in the primary health care sector.
And have you encountered a situation where Parkinson's symptoms were initially misinterpreted as aging or even non-medical causes? Have you come across such cases? And what does delay cost patients in terms of being practical at the first instance?
Yes, I've encountered it, not directly, but a friend of mine was sharing with me. He's a caregiver. The mother has Parkinson's. So he was sharing with me the journey. It took him 3 years to find a specialist to correctly diagnose this person. The mother has Parkinson's. And so it was tough for him because without the medication, the tremors really increase. And it's hard to basically manage these persons. But when they got now the proper diagnosis, it was easier. The mother is now on meds. The tremors are manageable. She can talk, she can eat. Caregiving becomes easier. So, and a big problem with Parkinson's is that if you don't diagnose it early and manage it, the progress worsens, the symptoms worsen. So early diagnosis is crucial, and also timely medicine, timely drug administration is very crucial. So this is important. Awareness is really important. If we are able to diagnose it at an early age, it's easier to manage, both for the patient and also the caregiver.
Yes, and we have established that there are gaps within the diagnosis of this disease. But then again, if for a normal person, what symptoms are we looking at to just say this could be Parkinson's before they even get to the specialist to just ascertain what is the problem? What symptoms are we looking at? Early symptoms.
Early symptoms, we have tremors. So we have hand tremors or the leg tremors.
Yes.
That is the most common symptom we use to diagnose. Another symptom is muscle stiffness. So you become stiff and rigid. It's hard to move freely and to coordinate your limbs. Also, there's this condition scientists term it as bradykinesia, which is basically slow movement. So your normal pace of walking becomes slower. You take a lot of time compared to how it was before. Then with these three, you can say, okay, I need to be diagnosed. Maybe I might have Parkinson's. Yeah, but the three tremors, muscle stiffness, and slow movement are the main symptoms related to Parkinson's.
You know, in your work as a Parkinson's activist, have you come across patients who describe their emotional experience of, say, losing control over things like facial expressions, speech, movement, especially within social settings? What is the emotional experience of that?
Yes, when I met some lady, she had Parkinson's. We were having a meeting and her face was expressionless. But the good thing, she warned me. She's like, Audrey, don't worry about my face. This is not how I feel in my heart. So at first you might think they're moody, because of the coordination on the muscles, they really can't control. So it's hard to see their true expressions on their faces. So most of them give you a heads up. They tell you this is not how we are feeling. But with time, they explain. Most people really judge them at first interactions. They seem gloomy, they seem antisocial, but that's not the case. It's the condition causing that.
And speaking of which, do you think there is stigma around around Parkinson's disease when it comes to how people view it? The way you said that some of them view it as a cancer. How do we deal with that stigma?
There is a lot of stigma, but there are two main causes. There is this group which does not know about the disease.
Lack of information.
Lack of information. Then there is this group which have seen people with Parkinson's, but they can't really term it as Parkinson's. So stigma helps. For stigma, we really push for support groups, community support groups, where the patients meet, the caregivers meet, the health professionals come together, and even the general community are invited. They just come and listen to Parkinson's. And if one person listens, they can go and tell another friend, okay, today I met this group. Have you ever heard about Parkinson's? And it blows up at a larger scale. Awareness is spread. So stigma is there, but with awareness and community support groups, they really go in handy when it comes to reducing the stigma.
And one of the things we cannot escape is the reality of caregivers when it comes to Parkinson's disease.
Yes.
Are there patterns that you notice in caregivers, especially maybe spouses or children, when this now disease progresses to full dependency? Are there some of the things, what are some of the patterns that you see within caregivers?
So for caregivers, especially, most patients are of age. So most caregivers are their children or spouses, right? Some quit their jobs and they become full-time caregivers. Because with time, as it progresses, you will have to be there fully to help them move, to help them walk, to help them sleep well. So that full-time job really affects them. And unless we bridge this gap and have sessions where we invite caregivers and they share the experiences, I've seen the effect where one caregiver talks about the experience and the other listens and she's like, I'm not alone. So this also happens to this other family. So that mental and emotional well-being for caregivers is really important because they didn't sign up for this. They did not sign up for this, but they have to take care of the patient. So supporting them mentally and emotionally is crucial for them.
And also, when you look at it, still on caregivers, when you look at caregivers, at what point does caregiving stop being support and start becoming a full restructuring of maybe family and income? When
The drug or the therapy now is the frequency increases. So this person is now taking their drugs 4 times a day instead of 2 times. So we need to have someone there. Other people who are well off employee nurses. Those who are not well off, they depend on their immediate family member. So it drains you financially being a caregiver, and you have to plan as a family how to best support this patient. So I've seen cases where one of the child gives up on their job, then the rest of the children support in terms of finances now to buy the drugs and the physiotherapies. They now support this one child who has decided to quit completely. But when it reaches to that stage, mostly is when the patient can't totally control their movements. They need help to walk, they need help to eat. So they really need to be taken care of 24/7. That is when someone now fully takes in the caregiver role.
And you mentioned something to do with medication, access to medication, especially within the country. The availability of Parkinson's drugs, it's lacking. Especially when it comes to public pharmacies, and if they're there, the costs might not be as friendly as one would expect. If as a country we were to manage Parkinson's disease effectively, are there strategies that we need to do to increase availability and affordability of Parkinson's disease medication within the country?
Yes, we can. So if we start taking registry of Parkinson's patients in hospitals, then the hospital will know there is an increase in this disease, in Parkinson's. So they will stock. Most hospitals stock drugs depending on the need, right? So if we know there is this disease and most people are now being affected, they will stock the drugs in their pharmacies. If they stock the drugs, then accessibility becomes easier. The patients will be able to take medicine on time, which will be able to manage their symptoms and not degrade. And also, treating Parkinson's is not part of most insurance covers. So most insurance covers don't cover Parkinson's disease.
Because they do not even know if it's there.
No, they don't know. So it becomes an out-of-pocket thing. So you have to set aside some cash every month to buy the drugs. So you find most patients now, they reduce their dosage. Instead of taking maybe 2 pills, they're taking 1, so that they don't they don't run out of stock.
Yes.
So if the neurologist has prescribed two tablets and you're taking one, your disease, your condition will worsen. Yeah.
And do you think, which means now Parkinson's medications and therapies are not consistently available?
No.
What does that do to interruption of managing or treatment of Parkinson's? Does it, how does the condition now, does it improve or just get worse?
It worsens. It worsens because there is no cure, you only manage it. You can only manage Parkinson's. So if you don't take your drugs, if you don't exercise, your condition will worsen. So if you skip taking drugs, again, your condition will worsen. Yeah.
Yes.
If you go to the pharmacy, and I've seen cases where patients go to the pharmacy and there are no available drugs. So this patient has money, yes, but there are no available drugs in the pharmacies. Again, the condition deteriorates. Yeah.
And you work as a coach also, sports on matters table tennis.
Yes.
How does it correlate with matters to do with Parkinson's?
So table tennis is, I can say, an all-in-one kind of solution to managing Parkinson's, because it not only helps in movement and coordination, it helps in mental stimulation. As the balls come faster, as the speed changes, as the ball placement changes, you're mentally stimulated, which is important for the Parkinson's patients. And also for the caregivers, emotional well-being. You know, sports is something which is fun, and you can be able to socially connect with the other people. I had an event last month on World Table Tennis Day where we invited those people who have never played the sport. We invited the patients, we invited the caregivers, and it was really nice to connect with the whole community. And these patients didn't feel labeled as Parkinson's patients. It was just a normal person playing table tennis. And that's what table tennis does. It combines all these aspects, this mental aspect, the social aspect, the physical aspect in a very natural way. Yeah.
And also, speaking of which, of that table tennis, you founded Attain Table Tennis, which is a community-driven initiative that uses table tennis as a tool for health and inclusion and empowerment.
Yes.
How has that journey been?
It's tough.
Why?
It's been tough because I was thinking of a big umbrella. So it started, idea came through the Attain Parkinson's initiative, but I wanted to do more. There's a lot I could see sport can be able to help in our community. So getting the big umbrella now and structuring everything and having this vision that this is what Attain Table Tennis aims to do. Having this initiative that pushes the inclusion and the empowerment in my community really takes time and also mentorship and a lot of help and research to be able to now structure it in a good way. And now you can even explain, I can even explain to Mike, this is what Attain Table Tennis is doing. Yeah.
And even in your efforts and activism matters to do with Parkinson's disease, have you considered even trying to work with the Ministry of Health in as far as awareness and spreading awareness is concerned of Parkinson's disease?
Yes, I have come to realize through my research that partnerships is key in scaling impact. So through partnering with health officials or the Ministry of Health, they have a direct link to the patients, most of them. It will be easier to raise awareness through that. Through sports for development platforms, it can also be a good way of raising awareness. So yes, I've been thinking of doing it, and it's actually one of my main objectives in this year is to push for these partnerships, to start these conversations with the Ministry of Health and the healthcare professionals, and raise more and more awareness about this disease.
Do you think Parkinson's disease is socially interpreted as through a lens of fear or it's and misunderstanding in many communities.
Yeah.
And what fuels that perception? Because perception, when it comes to such diseases that are not well known, matters a lot.
Yes, there is a lot of fear because of the symptoms. They are in a way scary. So when someone is having tremors, so you become aware and you're scared in a way to interact with them. So the fear is there mainly because of the symptoms related to Parkinson's. You have the non-motor symptoms like changes in moods, because remember dopamine is a happy hormone.
Yes.
So when you have low levels, your mood changes, you become very gloomy. So people find it hard to approach you. You're very angry and it's not intentional. So people find it hard even to approach you. So there's that fear because of the symptoms. Yeah.
And you know, support systems, we were speaking about support systems a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
You know, are they designed around the disease, or are patients forced to create their own support systems for themselves?
So mostly patients, especially the young patients who are diagnosed at an early age, tend to start these support systems where they now talk to the health professionals and friends. So you find most of these support systems are health professionals and those people who have been affected by the disease directly or indirectly. So it's the community itself, the Parkinson's community itself, starting these conversations and starting these support groups. Yeah.
You know, let's look at the workplace.
Okay.
Because there's something that affects people, and these people are within workplaces. Do you think workplaces are prepared enough for employees living with progressive neurological conditions that like Parkinson's that we are talking about? Or do many people just leave employment quietly at a time when they should not? Do you think these workplaces are prepared for such cases?
Not necessarily, because if someone gets these early symptoms, most of them withdraw. So it's mostly from an individual initiative. They withdraw because they don't seem to fit now in these workplaces. They're slower in their movements. They talk slowly. They find it hard to eat in a group setting. So they'll just withdraw from engaging with their colleagues in the workplaces.
Yes.
But we need to have systems where if such cases occur, then they come forward and explain, okay, this is Parkinson's and this might change, she might be slower, she might be moody, she might express herself this way, but she's still part of the team, you can still work with her. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, for many diseases, sometimes we talk about surviving the disease. But in many cases, when it comes to Parkinson's, the conversations is more about dignity and quality of life. Do you think those priorities receive enough attention?
No, they don't receive enough attention.
Why?
Because quality of life to someone is being able to be independent. Yeah. So if I'm independent, then my life is of quality. And Parkinson's doesn't give you that independence. In a way, you have to start depending on someone. So you feel your life is not of quality, but I feel quality of life is relevant, and if we can shift the mindsets of people defining or interpreting quality of life, then they will also be buying from the patients themselves that, okay, I might have Parkinson's, but I can still live a quality life. Yeah.
Are we having younger people who are dealing with cases of Parkinson's disease?
Yes, we do. We do.
And how are they? Have you interacted with them, and how are they taking it, and how are they being helped?
Yes, I've interacted with them. Like I had mentioned, there is this case of a young lady who had Parkinson's ever since Form 4. She has a very supporting husband. They're in their mid-30s right now. She has a very supportive husband. During the meetings, the husband brings her to the meetings, and she feels loved and supported. For most of the patients, I've come to realize it's all about support and that community and the love you show to them and the care you show to them. It pushes them daily. So that support is really important for the patient.
So that means Parkinson's is not an quote-unquote older people disease.
No, it's not.
Because there was that perception that when you hear cases of Parkinson's disease, you relate it with
old people.
Old people.
Yeah.
That has changed with time.
Yes.
Maybe I want you to talk about the IOC leadership a little bit, and how it has on matters that regard reception and the inclusion and empowerment on the ground so far.
So the IOC Young Leader Program generally supports young leaders who are trying to use sport to make their communities better. So in my case, I'm using sport, table tennis, to help the Parkinson's community. But each IOC Young Leader has a different project on what they're using. But the basic, the common factor is we're using sport to help our communities. And so with this project being supported by the IOC, it helped me now push what I wanted to do to an even larger scale. Because you have some seed funding, you can move and create awareness. You can buy a table and start a club where you invite the Parkinson's patients, which was not the case without the support from the IOC Young Leader Program. And so with this, you tend to be exposed to contacts which help you think differently about how to approach your project. And with time, your project grows and improves better and better. And when it comes to delivery, they support you both in a practical way and also in getting contacts which can be possible partners and also possible entry points to explore more on your project.
And finally, if you to have a sit down with one policy maker and have them change a policy, what is the first thing that you would want them to do regarding matters that relate to Parkinson's disease?
First thing to that policymaker will be to have systems which take in registry for the non-communicable diseases, not only Parkinson's, because this affects even the other non-communicable diseases. So let's have a registry, because right now that we are in a world where someone supports you if you have data. So you won't be supported because there is no data regarding the Parkinson's patients and the current state. So with the data now, then we push for the advocacy where the healthcare professionals are also, there's compulsory trainings and workshops on Parkinson's disease and awareness. And with that now will be a step higher when it comes to more awareness and reducing the stigma related to Parkinson's in Kenya.
Are there dietary restrictions that one may avoid when it comes to Parkinson's disease?
No, not necessarily, because they're being advised or encouraged to take balanced diet, but mostly light foods because of also the swallowing and the difficulties that might come with taking food. But dietary instructions, not so much.
I want you to look at that camera and give your final word, and maybe encourage someone going through it with Parkinson's disease, and even talk about advocacy.
Okay. I would like to tell everyone watching and listening that something simple like table tennis can be used to help communities like Parkinson's in bridging the stigma gap and the inclusion gap. And so let's join together, let's spread awareness. It doesn't stop today. Tell a friend to tell a friend, tell your mom, tell your parent, tell your sister that Parkinson's disease is here with us. And through these awareness sessions, we can be able to better manage it as a country and even as a continent.
Audrey, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And wish you all the best in your Parkinson's activist efforts to make sure that this disease is known. And we thank you for making time.
Thank you for having me too.
Yes, Audrey Oronda is a Parkinson's activist and an IOC young leader. She has been talking to us about matters that regard Parkinson's disease. This is where this conversation ends, and also the entire Good Morning Kenya team. Thank you for tuning in since morning. This is where we end it. We do this again tomorrow morning. My name is Mike Migwi. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Using a face scan to open doors, smart locks make that possible. Being allowed to take your next exam only after passing facial recognition, some universities in India are already testing this. In China, facial recognition is used to control payments, access to buildings, even behavior. This technology is no longer futuristic, it's already here. And while it can be helpful in some situations, it can also be dangerous in the wrong hands. Let's take a closer look. Facial recognition is used for many different purposes. In some cars, all I need is a face scan and the position of my seat adjusts automatically to my personal settings. If I'm tired or distracted, a warning system notices. The software tracks my eyes, my arm movements, and even when I yawn. Clearly, it's time to take a break. Banks also use biometric data to identify customers. Some ATMs are now testing face recognition. This might sound safe, but some scammers have already found ways to bypass these security systems. Using biometric data for identification is controversial, especially when the data can be accessed by state institutions. When authoritarian regimes use facial recognition software, the need for clear laws becomes obvious. Misidentification, vague rules around data collection, and a lack of transparency are major concerns. In China, the government stores its citizens' biometric data on centralized servers. In Xinjiang province, this data is used to monitor the Uyghurs, a predominantly Muslim ethnic minority. A vast network of surveillance cameras tracks people's movements. The United Nations has already called this use of surveillance technology a crime against humanity. In Turkey, police officers use body cams equipped with facial recognition. This allows them to identify individuals in real time. Officially, the technology is meant for identity checks, but critics worry it's actually being used to monitor activists. Under both Turkish and EU law, this kind of sensitive personal data is subject to special protections. That means police need a legal basis or explicit consent to collect it. At protests, though, that's often not the case. And the accuracy of facial recognition is also under debate.
The
If 10,000 or 20,000 people show up at a demonstration, lots of photos will be taken. Some with faces partly covered, people packed closely together, poor lighting or awkward angles. In those cases, the facial recognition system may struggle to identify people correctly. So it's quite possible the error rate will be much higher than normal. And someone who was nowhere near the protest could end up being fined.
Being convicted of something I never did sounds terrible. Yes, artificial intelligence is great at analyzing huge amounts of data, better than humans, and might even help identify suspects in a crime. But facial recognition does have its limits, especially when it has to rely on blurry surveillance footage. And algorithms based on biased training data can lead to errors. So how does facial recognition actually work? Once a photo is taken, the software isolates your face from the background, removing anything else to focus solely on your facial features. Most facial recognition systems also use liveness detection. This checks for depth to tell whether it's seeing a real person or just a photo or mask. Next, the software maps key features like your eyes, nose and mouth. These measurements are converted into a unique digital code, like a fingerprint, but for your face. That code is then compared against a facial features database. For authentication, like unlocking your phone, the system looks for an exact match. For identification, like finding a suspect in a police database, it searches for the closest match instead. But these systems aren't perfect. In complex situations like large crowds, poor light conditions, or partially covered faces, their accuracy drops. And the error rate is significantly higher for people with darker skin, increasing the risk of false positives. This happened in 2020. Robert Williams, a black man from Detroit, was wrongly handcuffed and arrested. Facial recognition software had identified him as a suspect, even though he wasn't at the crime scene. And this is not the only case. Facial recognition systems are highly disputed. Around the world, police follow a similar method. They compare surveillance footage to biometric data stored in their databases.
Police can request facial image analysis automatically, with no oversight. They simply run the facial recognition software, which returns 5 possible matches. Then, on the basis of those hits, the officer chooses the one they think most resembles the person they're looking for.
In essence, the software suggests options. It doesn't deliver foolproof results. A human decides whether the image from the camera matches the database entry. But without additional evidence, this method clearly falls short. Automatic facial recognition to identify people suspected of crimes is also controversial in Hungary. Authorities there can even use it at demonstrations to stop crimes before they happen. But what do ordinary citizens think about this?
Everyone has rights. Facial recognition violates my freedom.
Public cameras can help catch offenders. I think that's a good thing.
The powerful can easily abuse it.
It's really frightening and a bad development. These methods are used in China and North Korea.
Why is this such a controversial issue in Hungary right now, or against LGBTQ+ activists, especially because demonstrations like Budapest Pride were banned in 2025? And in general, the Hungarian authorities can now use facial recognition to identify suspects for any crime, big or small.
This basically means that if you drop a tissue or park in the wrong spot, facial recognition can be used to identify you.
The widespread use of facial recognition, even at protests, has drawn heavy criticism. Human rights organizations are particularly concerned about Hungary. In 2023, the EU passed laws regulating this kind of surveillance technology. They're meant to protect free speech and minority rights. But critics of the Hungarian government now fear those rights are at risk.
If it's being used to suppress demonstrations, then this kind of mass surveillance using facial recognition technology clearly goes against the Hungarian constitution.